For the record, Tucker Carlson is a worm. Well, you know, this is not untrue. What a great way to start the day with the truth. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Wake and Bake with Lolo. I'm Lolo. How is everybody? Oh boy. What happened? Did something happen? Because I haven't checked the news. Did something happen? Should I check the news? Very scared now. Oh my God, I'm very warm. I'm gonna turn my fan on. Sorry. Good day, Neil, with an I. How are you? Let me see what's going down. Going down. I think I'm going to jump actually into, I know Besant's getting spicy. Hi, macaroni. Is there anything happening? I'm fine. I already made 5 phone calls this morning instead of putting them off. Girl, you're owning this day. This day belongs to you. Congratulations. That's amazing, actually. God, I feel I barely got up on time. That's me. That's how I did. Good morning, Teresa. Good morning, Teresa. Good morning, Teresa. Good morning, Teresa. There we go. Let's put it on the stream. Yeah, so I know Beasley is, but you know who we haven't heard from? The farm girl. 16. Now all we need is 17 more people. Neil, stop it. Neil. Oh, Neil, come on. All right, so what we're going to start with is Rollins. I don't know if she's going to be interesting or not, but let's see what else. Oh, a press conference? What's that about? Okay, hold on. Turd is speaking. Good morning, everybody. It's one of those days. It's one of those days. When did he start? Okay, hold on.
Taxpayer dollars.
Okay. This is a little, obviously we came in late. Farm Girl is getting grilled in Congress. Yeah, we want to watch that. I want to watch a little bit of that. What's 16? I don't get it. What's 15? What are you guys talking about? I know. I know I'm a goofball. You don't have to tell me how goofy I am. I know I'm goofy. I should be more grateful. I know what you're saying. And I should. You're right. I am grateful, actually. Hello, Jay Rance. Hello, Jane. Hello, honey. Janie. Jane. I was up too late and got up too early. Okay, here we go. Teresa, you and I had the same night then, because I stayed up way too late playing video games. Seriously. It was really ridiculous. Bottom of the morning to you. Oh, that's right. It's almost noon. That's right. Oh, God, here we are, on the West Coast. Thank you for being here.
And Vice President Vance's war against fraud.
Okay. You know what? They're really trying to make fetch happen with this whole war on fraud. Okay? Don't fall for it. First of all, they haven't found any of the fraud. The states have found the fraud. Okay? Period. Full stop. They haven't done fuck all. Okay? I know that they want to tie this fraud thing, this war on fraud, to JD Vance because they think that's going to stick. They think he's going to become the king of fraud, rooting out evil fraud. Now, what's going to happen is that he's rooting out all the poor people too. And the poor people who vote for his boss are going to be mad because they're not going to get services because this government willy-nilly is going to absolutely absolutely not end up in A, finding fraud, B, ending fraud, C, helping actual Americans who need assistance. It's a way to cut assistance, people. Please wake up. This is dumb. So I know they're trying to make this really, really serious and really, really important, but it is a fucking op.
Has come to the great state of Ohio. And this is
This is too
a
weird.
war that we will win.
Where's, oh my God, there's,
the team behind.
holy shitballs. Look at the fucking assholes behind him. Look at the fucking, good morning, Josh, rooting out lawn grubs and worms like a hungry skunk. Maybe.
Federal
Look at this.
and state partners
Cash,
have come together,
jobs bitch,
as one to battle
this
what is
nutbag,
a fraud.
I don't know who that is, but he looks scary, like
country.
He probably has something on his hard drive.
Taxpayer-funded programs and robbed the American purse.
Did not. This is so dumb.
Under the leadership.
You met Myrtle. Who's Myrtle?
And Vice President. The days of the brazen theft that we've seen of taxpayer dollars, abusing
Myrtle at our show?
The generosity of the American taxpayer is over. Our message to fraudsters is simple. With our state and local partners, the Department of Justice will be working day and night to identify you, arrest you.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
You. Today, the Department of Justice is announcing
significant
fraud enforcement in the state of Ohio.
Sorry, I really
as well as a historic fraud-fighting partnership with the state of Ohio officials, which is exactly
that's real golden age shit, isn't it?
Every state, one that can serve as a template partnership for other states in this country. We welcome everyone, everywhere, to team up. Yeah, why do you mean this project's
weakness? Yes.
Federal partners.
So dumb.
U.S. Attorney's offices.
Oh, your world turtle. I love your world turtle, Myrtle.
I want to talk about a few cases that we're announcing today, and I think you'll agree with me that some criminals have gotten so bold, so audacious as to defraud the government of tens of millions of dollars. I'm just going to give a few examples right now. It should shock your conscience.
Oh, God. Okay,
today,
get ready.
So a 32-count indictment against 2 state employees and 2 other co-conspirators for allegedly billing $30 million to the government for therapeutic behavioral services that were never provided. We've also unsealed an indictment charging 4 defendants in a scheme to defraud a COVID program. Again, these programs, as we all know, were meant to benefit small businesses and individuals struggling because of the pandemic. In total, between our state and federal partners, today we're announcing charges that were either unsealed today or over the past week against 14 defendants allegedly involved in fraud schemes targeting over $50 million here in Ohio.
I know.
And again, these numbers are staggering, but just the tip of the iceberg, both here in Ohio and nationwide.
Those cats.
Sadly, Ohio is facing some of the most significant fraud schemes in the country.
Ohio? What?
Medicare fraud, pandemic relief fraud, even an international romance fraud scheme that I think you'll hear about shortly. And to meet this challenge, to meet this crisis, our response has been and will continue to be aggressive, comprehensive, and we will not stop until we fix this problem. I want to emphasize something about what the cases that we're bringing represent. A unified, statewide fraud-fighting effort that's firing on all cylinders. You're going to hear from some of us today after I finish, the U.S. attorneys, federal investigative partners, state partners, and agencies that are going to move fast, are going deep, and we're delivering results for the American people. So I want to take a moment and thank the prosecutors and agents who work these cases. They're not easy cases to work. They're not easy cases to investigate, but they're extraordinarily important to the American people and to restoring faith, trust, and justice in our systems. Also, to the leaders in Ohio, your commitment to this fight isn't just helpful, it's necessary for our success. This is an example when federal and state partners work together toward justice, our cases are stronger, the deterrence is greater, and the biggest problems facing our country, the ones we've been told are just the way it is, there's nothing we can do about it, start to look solvable, because they are. I want to thank President Trump, because he's told us time and time again that it is the mission of this Department of Justice every single day to be relentless in the pursuit of law and order. Americans deserve to live free of violence and fraud. Americans deserve to know that if someone lies or cheats or steals to get ahead, they will be punished, and they deserve a government that will never be taken advantage of by fraudsters. They're not just words, these are a promise that this department will keep. There's a lot of folks that want to say a few words, so I'm going to stop there. And I just want to, again, thank everybody behind me for being part of this fight. And it's now my honor to introduce the great Dr. Oz, who is I can tell you from my phone and my text messages, working tirelessly 7 days a week to combat what we're here to address today. So I'll ask Dr. Oz to say a few words now. Thank you.
It doesn't have it in the right area.
Chair prompted the creation of the task force. Many of its members are on the dais today. Vice President Vance leads that endeavor and has boldly been able to create an all-of-government effect. All of government doesn't just mean all of federal government, it means all of state government as well. And I'm here representing Secretary Kennedy and some of the work that we've done looking at the numbers that are coming out of the federal government. Because the budget of CMS is large, it's $2 trillion roughly, it means it's a big target. And foreign players and maybe even foreign governments have been taking bits and pieces of this pie for a while. But they have been weaponized. And we see that here in Ohio. And we're speaking about the frustration that many Americans spectrum,
there's
and
cash.
certainly red and blue states both are experiencing this, which is why it was important for us to be here today. I was
really
here last
important
week
to
with
me to
members of
do.
the CMS team, and we came because we're investigating home health care fraud,
Reincarnation of
autism
some
fraud,
Nazi.
and a series of different ways that the federal government is being pierced with different arrows from criminal elements that desire to suck taxpayer dollars out of the federal government and out of state government coffers as well. I was visiting a facility called the La Belle
he probably
Home
smells
Health,
like vodka.
Najumi Tatsing. You may not see her here today.
Yeah,
she's
binder
in jail.
guy. He's a Nazi.
And she went to jail because she was accused and convicted of taking billing practices to a level we had not seen before.
Yes, that's turd. Well, that was turd bland.
Billing for dead people is a
the
bad
binder
looking
full of
court.
women. Do you remember that?
And it showed her conviction when she was accused and
binders full of
taken
women.
out for doing things that we find reprehensible. Now, she was the only one, we wouldn't be here in force. Unfortunately, this area around Columbus is responsible in Franklin County for 1/3 of all of the $1.5 billion spent on home health care in Ohio. Think about that. 1/3 of all of the money spent on home health care.
You're talking about demonizing old people. Stop it.
That's 3 times what you would expect. There's a road very close to where we are, 288.
It is 3 times what you'd expect. So that's a clue, folks. This is for the chuds who are hate watching. The clue is that when they say things like that, your question should be, oh, really? Show me that data. Because this is how we got here, is by allowing people to just lie and skirt the truth and not provide any data to back it up, because they don't have any data, because there is no data to back up what he's saying. And how disgusting that humans in this country think that they should take that as gospel or as reasonable, that their government is not providing facts and data to back up decisions that they're making that have very, very big impact on people's lives. So the free dumb people should be all over this shit. But I don't think they're paying attention, because they listen to people like Steve Bannon, and that's where they get their information. Or even worse, some rando on the internet who decides to do a 20-minute bullshit piece on disinformation. Are we fighting? Cats are having a little tussle in the back. They can't take it. All I remember about Quacktor is sitting in a hospital lounge, watching his show on TV, and he was instructing people how to make sandwiches, literally. Yeah, stupid job. Yeah. Oh, stupid job. Oh.
Home health care facilities in
Well,
that
this is a
several
stupid
block
person.
area on that one road.
So,
Again, it defies belief.
good morning, Noob.
Some of these buildings were vacant. You wouldn't put anybody up in those buildings, not certainly the place that would house home health care. Now, this is a mecca for Somalian populations.
Oh my God.
It's a hub for Nepalese and Bhutanese populations. These are insular groups, but we are naive to think that practices that were felt to be commonplace in other parts of the world wouldn't come to this great country if we didn't pay attention to some of the program integrity issues, which...
Is he basically saying that all people from Nepal, from Bhutan, are so insular? Okay, can I just explain to you, for the smart people in the room, just don't worry. I just need to take this minute to explain something. When you go to Malaga or Fuengirola or any coastal town in Spain, right? You will find large swaths of like British expats. That's primarily what I saw, Irish, whatever, UK expats. You will see large enclaves within very, very ancient Spanish towns of English and Irish who insist on opening a pub, hanging out with each other, speaking English in a Spanish-speaking country. Does it sound familiar now what's happening? Do you see where I'm going with this? The fact that as Americans, if we go and move to like Costa Rica, Baja is a great example. There's all kinds of Americans on Baja who have big, big, big houses. I know some of them. And what they do is have English speaking, different things like country clubs and stuff like that. They built it down there because they want it to be more like where they came from. Are you catching on to what I'm saying here? So when people from another country relocate, especially refugee populations where there's larger groups of people coming over and there's very good reasons for them to be doing so, it is not unusual to me, nor is it inappropriate, nor is it anything if they then begin to rebuild their lives within their enclave here in the United States, which I guess it was supposed to be known as this great melting pot of different cultures. So when I hear people say assimilate, I'm like, assimilate what? Because they're here. And what they're doing is actually bringing more beauty and culture to our country, which is, again, I'm going to remind you, was designed to be a melting pot. And then remember that people, and when you go to other countries or when there are expat enclaves in other countries, they literally bring their country to that enclave. Okay? So that's what I'm trying to tell you. Like, your whole argument is flawed with attacking these groups of folks that come over here, in many respects, come over here because of war-torn countries and poverty and famine. Get a grip. Oh, short window on interim final rule I posted. I thought it was July 1st or July 31st. Best first challenge might be APA rulemaking. Okay, thank you for that. Thank you. I'll talk about that in a minute. Anyway, sorry to interrupt, but this part of it drives me crazy that people are like, why don't you assimilate? Well, why don't you assimilate when you go to fucking Spain or Costa Rica or any of the countries where there's large groups of American expats? God, grow up. Learn how the world works.
Were ignored en masse
So
with the prior administration. So today we have three major announcements from the healthcare part of this
I'm going to find that.
endeavor. The first
I'll
is
take a look at
that the state of Ohio, and I want to applaud the Medicaid office here.
I'm sure I could
they will
take
be
a deeper
announcing at
look
1
and
o'clock,
get a
and
better
please pay
option
attention
too,
to that
yeah.
important announcement that they are
That just
suspending
jumped up at
49
me.
home healthcare providers who have been identified as high risk to the Medicaid program. These people have billed millions of dollars to take advantage of our most vulnerable And if you're willing to steal
our most
from
vulnerable
folks who are
billionaires
down and having a difficult time, you'll not just steal their money, you'll steal their health, you'll steal their lives. And we're seeing that. No more champagne on private jets for these people, no more new cars, no more luxury endeavors and vacations. It's done. We're coming after you wherever you...
Who has a private jet? Who? Oz has assimilated. He hardly ever kicks a Kurdish grandma anymore. Well, but he'll stand in front of Armenian businesses and claim with no data whatsoever that the businesses behind me are fraudulent, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, wait, what? Who the fuck are you? So, excuse me, Dr. Oz, but your Turkish is showing, okay? Your Turk, I hate Armenians is showing. You fucking idiot. You fucking agent of the Turkish government. You fucking foreign agent. You fucking foreign agent. Anyway, hi Sharon Brown. How are you doing? I do. Didn't I tell you?
You are. And as Attorney General Blanche highlighted, we are earnest and serious in this endeavor. We will not be daunted. Ohio Governor DeWine also sought a 6-month moratorium for all new home health care and hospice in the state of Ohio. We granted that within a day, and we hope that will help at least slow the bleeding.
Oh my
using
God.
a surgical metaphor, so we can get a bandage on the wound, maybe put a couple stitches in, and take out some of the folks who have been stabbing the patient of Medicaid. Second big announcement, in order to solidify...
So you're stopping stuff without any actual active cases? They're stopping stuff because they suspect? Are you kidding me? I mean, does any chud in the weird audience, which they may not be in the audience, but in my mind they might be. Is there anywhere where you think it's better to stop payments to people on a fixed income? Think about someone in your life. They may be on a fixed income. Maybe they get $1,500 a month. Maybe they get $2,000 a month. Maybe they get $3,000 a month, whatever the payment may be based on their whatever, right? Are you telling me that cutting their access to services or cash or food assistance or anything like that, you really want to just turn that off until these guys figure out, like, they back into somebody doing a crime? Because that's what's happening. They're going to cut off MEMA, all right? They're going to cut off MEMA, and then they're going to investigate. That doesn't make any sense to me. You investigate, and then you can make, adjustments about what you found, I guess. I don't know. But guess what? They're not going to find that much. Or they're going to find stuff that the state either was already working on or already knew about. Or they might find a couple cases here and there, and they're going to hang their hat on those couple cases to say, see. But that just means that there was extra investigative help to help root out those cases, which that's great. If the federal government wants to help by providing manpower and other things to the states to root out fraud, fantastic. But that's not what they're doing. They're going in and shutting shit down, making people suffer while they figure out how to spin it. Everyone should be up in arms against this. I don't care who you voted for. Yeah. Real golden age shit right here. I bet he just read that medicals. Did he read it? I don't think so.
Collaboration, CMS, Medicare, Medicaid, and Ohio are going to launch a state-specific Medicaid fraud room. It's going to copy the Medicaid fraud room created at the federal level by the task force. The findings surfaced through this state partnership, we believe, will free us to be able to directly collaborate at a national level, getting all states to understand what the problems are within their areas and accelerating our ability to take out high-risk providers. We'll identify them and we'll enforce actions around them. The applied behavioral analysis process, it's called ABA therapy for autism, has been scandalously abused. This is, again, taking advantage of children with autism, or getting their parents to lie about whether the child has autism, or weakening the system so the kids who actually need the services can...
Okay. Let me also tell you something. I don't know, unless they have Munchausen by proxy. I don't think there's parents who say, hey, you know what would be really great if my child had a complicated diagnosis right now that I needed to attend a lot of meetings about and figure out what services they need. I'm not going to get any money for those services, but I want to figure out what services they can have access to. There's not a parent on earth who's going to go through the process of dealing with either special education or autism services or whatever if their child doesn't have it. Okay? What the fuck? Because guess what? Those families, sure, they may be getting a small amount of money to take care of a child who's disabled. Like there could be a million different things, but that's not like, there's not millions of people doing that. I'm sorry. That would be an incredible conspiracy. So again, what you're doing is going after poor people. That's all this is. That's all this is. It's not going after the boogeyman over here with the big scam, okay? If they wanted to help in that, they would help the state level or the county level or whoever investigators who actually probably need additional manpower or technology or money or whatever in order to do those complete investigations. And if you have a problem with the way state investigators and other people do, well, then the people of that state should vote in different leadership in order to get a different administration. Do you see how this works? This is the federal government stepping down on you. You want to talk about big government? Bitch, this is the biggest government. This is the biggest government. That's what you voted for. You didn't vote for small government. You voted for the largest government. Yeah, here we go. Jay Rance knows. Here we go. She's got the line on it. You need multiple layers of proof from doctors and educators to get financial assistance for children with disabilities. It is a pain in the ass, right? It's hard. If you have a child that has a learning challenge or anything, that is heartbreaking. And if we're talking about, smooth operators who just open a center, well, then that should be fairly easy to investigate. And maybe, again, the answer is to help the state or the county or whoever is investigating that crime with as much assistance as you can give them in order to resolve the crime quickly and efficiently. What you don't do is cut off all the payments and then decide that you're maybe going to do an investigation, although I haven't seen any investigations launched, except for by the states. So you see, I'm saying no. There are definitely people out there who voted for this, who have children who have disabilities or who are experiencing learning challenges. Okay, I know there are people out there that do. They're coming after you. And you know that if you have a child who's struggling, you're not happy about that. You're not like, oh, payday. You're heartbroken because you can't help your child. You need help out from outside to help your child succeed or do whatever. You're not like, payday, unless you're a fucking psychopath. And those are called child abusers. I mean, I'm just spitting facts. I'm not giving you an ideology, okay? I'm actually telling you factual information. But yeah.
Can't get them anymore. There are 9 providers that were paid more than $1 million to do this last year. These ABA services, we're going to go after them. We're going to deny some of the issues. In fact, 2 of these people were denied access to Medicare already. They should never have been in the Medicaid program. The top provider earned over $3 million.
He's a quack, you're right.
That's twice the closest competitor. And remember, the average provider of autism services gets paid around $200,000. So to have someone pay over $3 million is shocking. And the war room that's created with Ohio will be opening investigations on 2 home health care.
Okay, that's a pretty obvious that's a pretty obvious crime, or at least inappropriate. Maybe their board should deal with them. Usually the board is the one setting the CEO pay, by the way, in a nonprofit. The CEOs don't set their own pay. Okay. I'm just also going to let you know. Oh my God. Think it is fraud as an excuse for efforts to commandeer capture state systems. Yes. Thank you. For everything I just said, Oomph said it much better and much shorter. Fraud is an excuse for efforts to commandeer capture state systems. That's it. Because they lied to you about their reasons for doing all this nonsense. Maybe with tech contracts, copy of the fraud room being built in Ohio, connected to what? What equipment?
Providers,
Yes,
and this war room is going to
exactly.
yield huge benefits. And finally, we want to speak a little bit about the fact that we have the need to audit states all over the country to help states understand where they are in comparison to all the other states. We don't have a national effort that allows states to at least get a best practice.
Oh, Colleen. My God, I am a special ed teacher. The families need support, and Oz is against ABA, but he's cool with the conversion therapy. These people are cruel, heartless, and genocidal. This is so well said. Thank you, Colleen. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you for your service, because I know firsthand how much you have to deal with. And I always considered, well, first of all, I consider teachers heroes. I love teachers. I think that they give so much and are so underappreciated. And special ed teachers times two, because not only are special education teachers dealing with limited time, limited resources, a lot of paperwork. Holy shit. Holy crap. The paperwork that special education teachers have to complete is absolutely mind-blowing. I don't think people even understand the amount of work that goes into being a special education teacher. It is so much more than just that moment in the classroom. Oh, and then there's the other thing, because I've had situations where the main teacher, the primary teacher in the class, doesn't get along with the special education teacher and makes it almost impossible for that person to operate. That happens. Okay? So let me tell you, the life of a special education teacher is really difficult. First of all, you may not even have your own space to plan or do anything. You're going from classroom to classroom. If you have your own classroom, that's amazing. But that doesn't happen. Special education teachers have to deploy to where the students are. I don't think people really get it. I don't think they really get it. So thank you, Colleen, for all the children that you've helped, all the parents that you've helped, all the tears you've cried because your students struggle. Thank you, because I see you. And this is so incredibly sad to me that we're letting disinformation yet again take the entire system and fuck it. Thank you. Our contracts don't give us enough time. Yes, there you go, to write IEPs, assessment reports. Yes, and sometimes gen ed teachers don't think we are real. Exactly. Exactly. It's amazing. I know. It's amazing, Colleen. You guys are up against it. I watched my beautiful staff in special education try and stay night after night after night, because that's when they would have to write all the documentation. Because you also have, what are those meetings they call them, Colleen, where you have like annual meetings where you meet with like the special ed board. What are those? I can't recall. They're conferences or something like that. But anyway, there's much more preparation that has to happen for a special education conference with a student and their parents than may have to happen with general ed, because they also have assessments based on the board, the education. I've had meetings with, Department of Ed and the special education teacher around maybe a discipline issue with a child who has an IEP, right? We had that plenty of times. IEP meetings, yeah, sorry. That's really what it is, to determine the IEP. Those are lengthy, detailed, pedagogical, scientific fucking, I don't know. I could go on and on, but thank you, Colleen. You're a hero. Thank you for that. I really appreciate you. And thank you for, yeah, annually, then full assessments every 3 years. That's what it is. It's those full assessments too. I'm just telling you, there's a lot more behind the scenes that people do that's why this stuff angers me even more, because it's literally just a boondoggle to get people to run around justifying their existence when that's the last thing they should be doing. But again, that's what this regime wants. This regime wants to break it so that the billionaires can buy it. Oh, big hearing next Tuesday. Ooh, goodly. We'll take a look at that. Yeah. So there you go. Thank you, Colleen.
Practices idea from surrounding areas. So we have now, and what I can announce today, asked the state of Indiana to work with Oracle Health to provide that exact set of information. So all the states now will be armed with information, for example, on high-risk providers.
Wait, what? What's Oracle Health? 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 Yeah, I know, Mr. Spock, you're right. Oracle Health supports providers, payers, and public health organizations with a secure, comprehensive suite of cloud-based solutions built on enterprise-grade infrastructure. Our unified solutions help safeguard patient data, streamline operations, alleviate administrative burden. How did we get Oracle Health? Wait, I'm so confused. Did we institute Oracle Health as our data solution? Wait, I need to.
And scandalously abused. This is, again, taking advantage of children with autism, or getting their parents to lie about whether the child has autism, or weakening the system so the kids who actually need the services can't get them anymore. There are 9 providers that were paid more than $1 million to do this last year, these ABA services. We're going to go after them. We're going to deny some of the issues. In fact, 2 of these people were denied access to Medicare already. They should never have been in the Medicaid program. The top provider earned over $3 million. That's twice the closest competitor. And remember, the average provider of autism
let's talk about
gets paid
CEO
about $200,000. So to have someone pay over $3 million is shocking. And the war room that's created with Ohio will be opening investigations on 2 home health care providers. And this war room is going to yield huge benefits. And finally, we want to speak a little bit about the fact that we have the need to audit states all over the country to help states understand where they are in comparison to all the other states. We don't have a national effort that allows states to at least get a best practices idea from surrounding areas.
I really doubt that. I really doubt that.
Asked the state of Indiana to work with Oracle Health to provide that exact set of information. So all the states now will be armed with information, for example, on high-risk providers. And the ABA therapy autism, as I mentioned before, we've asked all 50 states to revalidate these providers and other high-risk categories. Every single state has agreed. By this Friday, they're obliged to provide us with a specific plan. But if you're involved in some high-risk endeavor, these are endeavors that are unlicensed individuals, often in unsupervised settings, we want the states to go back and check who you are. We're not paying fraudsters for dishonest endeavors that hurt the American people. Now, it's my great honor to...
You're telling me that they've asked states by this Friday to develop a plan to reevaluate every provider in certain categories? Do you understand how much that's going to cost? They're trying to bankrupt your state. They are trying to bankrupt your state, bitches. You fucking idiots. Because there's crime, Lee. Because there's crime. That's why. Because crime. And he wanted to show everybody his new... Wait, where is it? Where is it? Oh, no, did I... Oh. That's his new outfit. I can't.
Introduce a wonderful friend, all known to you as the head of the FBI, who's done a wonderful job taking this effort on seriously. And when CMS, when Medicare, Medicaid can crutch on law enforcement, like we have with the DOJ and the Office of Inspector General and the FBI, it accelerates our path towards success. Cash.
Now you're going to find out why he's there.
Good morning. What is the FBI doing to combat fraud? It's pretty simple.
Dear
we follow the
Kyrie.
money. We follow all the money. And thanks to President Trump's brilliant vision to decimate fraud across the country that has been fleecing Americans and our kids and our senior citizens for far too long, law enforcement finally has the backing to deliver like we are delivering here in the state of Ohio today.
Hey,
Thank you to Vice President J.D. Vance for leading the anti-fraud task force. In order to assemble this great team of individuals, you need true leadership across the country, and it starts in Washington, D.C. None of this work is possible without every single one of these individuals here and their teams at the state, local, and federal level. It is truly a team lift, a unified effort under the Trump Advance administration that has brought us here to just highlight some of the work that we are doing. Operation Playground Therapy is what the FBI is here to talk about today. As the Attorney General highlighted, literally tens of millions of dollars that was supposed to go to kids was stolen, allegedly, by individuals who worked in government and the private sector and thought they could fleece Americans.
Where's your data?
Our treasure, our
Who are you talking about?
hard-earned dollars, the taxpayer dollars that we provide to support them in their time of need.
We provide,
they got
bitch.
Caught. And not only did
You
they
don't
get
earn
caught, so many
anything.
others got caught. Just
You
take a look at
spend
some
money.
of the vehicles that are here
You don't
as part of their
bring
ill-gotten gains and
anything.
proceeds. They didn't just take the money.
You
They
suck on the
paraded it
teeth
around the
of our
country.
taxpayer
Thanks to this
dollars,
team here,
bitch.
you are seeing what hard work, dedication
They
to the
are
rule of
ignorant
law,
fuck faces.
and true unified effort across all fronts when no one wants the credit and everyone wants to just do the work.
So
These are the results that we're here to talk about today. Importantly for the FBI, and thanks to Vice President J.D. Vance's vision, he had an idea. He said, hey, you guys have a top 10 most wanted list for all gangbangers, terrorists, narco-traffickers, murderers,
Who
and rapists around
uses
the
that
world.
word anymore? Who uses that word anymore? Yeah, he said allegedly because they don't have anything. Oh my God. This is like the Peter Principle times 17.
How about we have a top 10 list for most wanted fraudsters? So, Mr. Vice President, thanks to your vision, we're here to deliver, and you see it here today. It is live officially on the FBI website. I want all Americans to take a look at these most wanted individuals and look at the amounts, the tens of millions and billions of dollars in fraud that they have decimated our societies from. We rely on you. Our best form of information is the American public. Take a look at this top 10 most wanted. Let us know any information. There is no bad piece of information. The only bad piece of information is the one you don't give us. So
okay, we need another trade session.
Call FBI or go to FBI.gov and help us apprehend more fraudsters. The last thing I want to talk about is the work of the FBI and the interagency isn't just domestic. The fraudsters have created programs overseas.
Let's have a trade show. Want to do that?
Billions of dollars.
Let me know when you want to do that, Lee.
Charge against scam center compounds stood up in
it's easier
Southeast Asia
to
and the Middle East.
send you a microphone here so we can
trafficked
just speak directly.
Just in the last year under the Trump Advance administration and the fraud initiative, we have captured and freed $8 billion in fraud in scam centers that were stood up by the CCP and other adversaries in places like Thailand, Laos, and Cambodia, and the Middle East. And we're working with our interagency and partners across the world to bring hundreds of individuals to justice. Just the other week in the Middle East, in Dubai, we arrested 300 individuals responsible for $4 billion in fraud. They prey on our senior citizens here from overseas. And this administration has made it abundantly clear, there is no distance we want.
But that doesn't have anything to do with healthcare fraud. I mean, there are scammers. Finally got to putting a new cylinder jug on the moped engine. Have to switch engines today. Are you on a ride? Are you going to be riding around, Mr. Spock? That sounds like fun. Bobo wants a scooter.
Travel to make sure we apprehend each and every one of these individuals. The FBI is leading the effort to scuttle these scam centers permanently, to free the traffic workers, and most importantly, to secure our taxpayer dollars and make sure that this $8
But I want a
billion
motorcycle, so I can't
fraud
complain.
that the FBI has delivered on so far only continues to grow. and we're going to keep doing it. I just want to thank the Attorney General, the interagency partnerships here, state and local. I've said it over
I'm
and over
still
again.
stuck
The
on
FBI's
Oracle
best
Health,
partners
okay?
are state
I'm
and
real
local
stuck
law
on that.
enforcement, and they're here today, and these are the results. And it's now my honor to introduce the Assistant Attorney General for the Fraud Task Force, Kyle McDonald.
Kyle! Hey,
Thank you, Director Patel, and good morning to all of you. Thank you for being here. The war against fraud has come to Ohio, and we plan to leave no doubt as to who will win.
Yes.
That will be the team behind me, federal and state partners who have come together as one to battle the fraud crisis that has crippled our
We recently
taxpayer-funded
arrested
programs
15
and robbed the
Nigerian princes.
American
Who knew they
purse
had so many
for too long.
princes?
Under President Trump, Vice President Vance,
But they
and
get so
Acting
many.
Attorney General Blanche, the days of brazen thievery of taxpayer dollars is over. With our state and federal partners, the Department of Justice is rapidly deploying a fraud-fighting apparatus that is capable of fighting fraud no matter how big, no matter how small, no matter how hard. In the last 60 days, the Department of Justice has announced more than 550 fraud enforcement actions across the country, representing billions of dollars in attempted theft from the United States taxpayer. There is nowhere we won't go to fight fraud, and that includes here in Ohio. Today, Ohio's fraud-fighting team is uniting with us in historic ways to contribute uniquely to the fight against fraud. Attorney General Dave Yost, you'll hear from in a minute, is advancing an $11 million fraud action through the Medicaid Fraud Control Unit.
Big, small,
and as
hard.
he concludes
Yep.
his service in the Attorney General's office, we thank him for his years of commitment to Ohio and wish him well in his next chapter. The Fraud Division and Ohio Secretary of State Frank LaRose executed this morning a data sharing agreement that provides the Fraud Division access to corporate registrant data held by the state of Ohio. This data will be used in proactive data analysis to quickly identify ownership links between clinics, labs, and billing entities that fraudsters use and hide behind to obscure control over healthcare fraud and other fraud schemes. We thank Secretary LaRose for collaborating with us today. Auditor Keith Faber continues to set the standard for state-led fraud investigations and for building enforcement capacity and coordination. His office has applied to the DOJ's Special Attorneys Grant Program to detail special prosecutors to the Department of Justice's Fraud Division. And we welcome all state and local prosecutors to do the same and follow Auditor Faber's lead.
What's that?
Treasurer Robert Sprague has formally joined the statewide Benefits Fraud Enforcement Task Force initiated by U.S. Attorney Gerace. His office will aim to bring critical financial analysis capabilities that will strengthen our ability to identify irregularities, prevent improper payments.
Oh, this is
and
AI,
safeguard
right? He's
taxpayer
just talking
funds.
about using Grok.
Each of these steps taken by these state leaders strengthen our ability to accomplish our shared fraud enforcement mission. The days of information silos are over.
I had some beers with Cash last
here
night.
And the willingness to innovate and collaborate is raising the standard for every other
Yeah,
state.
actually, hey,
Ohio is proving what's possible.
hey, Kyle, why don't you turn around and ask the fraud over your right shoulder there, Turd? Why don't you ask Turd how he got the president convicted for 34 counts of, what was it? Fraud! That's right. Tell us about fraud. Because if you look over your right shoulder, Turd didn't even successfully get his boss, your boss, off of 34 counts of fraud. And your boss's CFO spent a few months in Rikers Island at the tender age of 87,000. So, sir, I think the calls are coming from inside the house. Oh, and he credibly was alleged to have raped multiple children. So you're standing up there, sir. And behind you is a man who tried to get the president off of rape charges unsuccessfully. also tried to get the president off of fraud charges unsuccessfully. So, sir, I beg, please note, the fraud is behind you. It's behind you, kid. Behind you. God, this is so dumb. I feel like I'm saying all the obvious things, and it's just like, well,
when federal and state partners move in lockstep, smarter detection, stronger enforcement,
not just jail
and
either.
real protection for the American taxpayer. The truth is, we need all hands on deck in every state. The National Fraud Task Force, the Department of Justice, and the Fraud Division will work collaboratively with anyone who is committed to ending fraud in America and saving the taxpayers' money. To state and local law enforcement, if you have something that could use federal muscle, bring it to us. We want to help.
Ignore
to the attorneys and the agents on the cases that are being announced today, thank you for your dedicated hard work to achieve the aims of justice. To the people of Ohio, if someone offers you a medical perk that sounds too good to be true, it is. If you see fraud or even suspect it, tell us. Your reports protect your neighbors, your communities, and your tax dollars. You can report fraud to tips.fbi.gov or in Ohio at 866-FRAUD-OH. And now to the fraudsters. You reap what you sow. And your seeds are deceit, greed, and corruption.
Oh, girl, you better really, really take a minute. Oh, girl, you have no clue. I mean, maybe you do have a clue, and this is your true belief. Or maybe you just think that this is like a G.I. Joe movie and you're part of the crew. Maybe. But, girl, you better run. Because you know what? Like I always say, what is it I always say, kids? Everybody ends up on the side of the wall. Everybody ends up on the side of a wall, Kyle. If you do shit that ends up being a crime against humanity or illegal or whatever, it will follow you too. And guess what, Kyle? The guys behind you, they're definitely going to throw you under the bus. Oh boy. Get ready. Strap in, girl. Because I see Cash, Turd, and Oz, and even the blonde bitch over there. They're going to throw you under as many buses as they can find. Yeah, narc out your neighbors. There you go. I mean, I think it's just us, Sharon.
To till every field and turn over every rock to find you and bring you to justice.
Really? Because there's one in the White House.
Thank you. Let's keep going. Let's keep up the fight. And let's leave no doubt
press questions,
as to the
bitch.
score. And I'll now turn the podium over to our great partner at the SBA, Administrator Kelly Loeffler.
Who we all like to fuck. Oh, wait.
Thank you, Mr. Assistant Attorney
I'd love her
General.
to wrap those long legs around my...
to be part of the President's task force to eliminate fraud. I'm so grateful for his fight for the American people on this issue, and I'm grateful to Vice President Vance for his leadership and to Chairman Ferguson and the entire team here to take on their willingness to take on this issue and the criminals that no other administration has been willing to go after. Small businesses are our biggest job creator in the country, but they're also our nation's biggest taxpayers. Like every taxpayer,
isn't that terrible?
To know that the programs that they pay into will be there for those who need them, not siphoned away by fraudsters who would rather steal from hardworking Americans than become hardworking Americans.
She is tall.
Since day one, the SBA has focused
she's got good hair.
On the
That's
Paycheck
better than
Protection
Amazon hair,
Program,
right?
Which will go down as one of the most defrauded federal programs in American
history. Got a pretty good makeup scheme, a little bit of contour there. She's got some good contour. Good eyebrows. She's got good eyebrows.
That was meant for small businesses.
She looks like Sharon Tate, but not as nice.
The Office of Inspector General deemed
she doesn't seem like very nice, and her suit doesn't fit,
including right here in Ohio.
That suit doesn't fit.
The Biden administration chose to
like
look
she
the
can
other
dress
way,
so much better. She has no style.
De facto amnesty at the expense
zero style
of your taxpayers. But this administration is choosing
He's the
accountability.
tallest person in the room. That
Last
must make
month,
the rest of the guys
SBA
crestfallen.
referred
No, that's just get the
560,000
fantasies
borrowers
going. That's
to the
all. Don't worry
DOJ
about
and
it.
Treasury. That's over
Look
half
how
a
short
million
Cash is.
borrowers to start
He's
collections and
incredibly short.
prosecutions for $22 billion in suspected PPP fraud.
In suspected.
Today, we've announced suspicions.
We've announced suspicions. Listen to this bullshit. We have a feeling that there's fraud. And that's what our press conference is about. We have a feeling, we suspect, we anticipate. I don't know, because you know who's running for governor is Vivek Ramaswamy is running for governor in Ohio. Well, they came in with DeWine, who's the current governor. He's an asshole. Did Trump make her wear floor shines? That's a good point. That's a great brand for her. She could wear other clothes beautifully. I know, she's a gorgeous woman. She really could carry off some really good fashion. This is like stupid. This little stupid jacket over a stupid, I don't even know what that blouse is. Anyway, yeah, I criticize fashion. Get over it. Because I have great style. Come to my MAGA makeover show. I would make this bitch over in a minute. I'd get her some anthropology clothes or something a little better than this, and she'd be looking fucking fire. Yeah, anyway, sorry. Look at this face. I like this face. Wait. I like these two faces. I'm going to get the boys' faces. They're funny. Okay, bye.
Suspensions for 140,000 borrowers across California, Minnesota, and Maine, totaling $9 billion. And today, I'm here to announce suspensions for over 27,000 Ohio borrowers tied to $1.1 billion in suspected PPP fraud. As you've heard today, this task force is exposing the fraudsters, making them return what they stole, and sending them to jail. The Trump administration will uphold law and order.
It's true. Oh my God, you're right, Stephanie.
At the expense
or Stephen.
of honest, hardworking Americans.
No.
This administration is putting up new guardrails for the future.
Is that what it is?
And we will go state by state to correct the past. I want to thank my colleagues
She insider
for their
traded
dedication.
after the class of, yeah.
None of this would have been possible without the president's fight for the American people, the vice president's leadership, and this team's hard work.
Maybe she's tooting.
There is no fraud too small. And that's why the SBA is proud to help deliver justice on behalf of America's
I'll wear my
job
flag.
creators. Thank you, and it's now my honor to turn it over to our FTC chairman, Andrew Ferguson.
Here's another dick face.
Good morning. We are here because President Trump decided to declare war on fraud, and the only way we could assemble a team like this, state officials,
is
local
drudge
federal
up
officials,
a lot of
senior
different
national federal officials, all to combat fraud, is because of President Trump's leadership. And he put Vice President Vance in charge of the anti-fraud task force, the point of the spear in the war on fraud.
How many billion do we spend on
because
Iran
Vice
and
President
Israel
Vance
every
has
day?
the determination, energy, and leadership to carry this thing
Yeah,
forward
talk about
across the entire
fraud.
federal government along with
I
our
feel
state
defrauded
partners.
by that.
Vice President has articulated a clear vision for how this war will go, a two-pronged attack on fraudsters. The Department of Justice and their partners in state governments and the Department of Homeland Security will put fraudsters in jail, and the agencies will make sure that we install safeguards so that the money never reaches the fraudsters' pockets in the first place. Today, you've seen both prongs of this attack on full display. The department getting arrest after arrest, indictment after indictment.
Where are they?
Fraud.
Where?
The agencies led, for example,
Where?
by Administrator Loeffler. SBA has done more work than almost any agency in the federal government to combat fraud.
I want to find out
Making
about
sure that this money never gets back to fraudsters and the money that did go out the door is recovered. Today, I'm here to announce another major implementation in the agency part of this war on fraud.
They're not talking about results, people. They're talking about.
Inspector General
He's literally talking about how he's spending our money. This is literally what this press conference is about, is how they're spending our money, not what they found. Not what they found. Don't get it twisted. They're just telling you how they're going to spend your money. Oh my God. And they're privatizing shit. That's why I want to check into that Oracle shit. Fox News isn't even airing this. Well.
By March Bell, in coordination with the task force, has decertified Hawaii's Medicaid Fraud Control Unit. Let me explain why this is important. Every year, the United States taxpayers send $2 trillion through Medicaid and Medicare out to the states. There are conditions on the money that goes out to the states, and one of them is very simple. If states want access to this money, they have to create a unit to fight fraud in those states.
Oh my
led
God.
by the attorney generals of those states.
Who wouldn't have
We
that?
are joined up here by Dave Yost. Ohio's Medicaid Fraud Control Unit is one of the gold standard control units
that's why they're
for fighting
there,
fraud
Neil.
in the United States, and that is a credit to his
That's
leadership.
why they're there.
The opposite has been taking place in Hawaii. For more than a decade, Hawaii's Medicaid Fraud Control Unit has received millions and millions of dollars to fight fraud and has consistently been one of the lowest performing fraud units in the country. They have been the subject of continued demands to improve their performance since 2014, dating back to the Obama administration. And from 2021 to 2025, Hawaii's Medicaid funding went up 27%. Their Medicaid enrollment went up 40%. And they did not produce a single conviction or obtain a single indictment of a fraudster from 2021 to 2025. And so this morning, the Inspector General, in coordination with the task force, exercised his statutory obligation to end the grants being paid to Hawaii, to make sure that money that goes out the door to the states is going to actually fight fraud. Less than a month ago, HHS sent a letter to every single AG in the United States and said, we are putting you on notice. For the first time, the Trump administration is going to take seriously the obligation that you have an effective Medicaid fraud control unit in your state. Everyone is on notice, and today Hawaii is being decertified for its abject failure to enforce state and federal law to prohibit fraud.
What? Good morning, Lucy Meowing Star. Good morning. I see you. Doesn't the average person only consume 5 to 10 minutes of political news per week? Is that true, Josh? I don't think that can't be true. Maybe there wasn't fraud. Yeah, maybe there wasn't. With everything that Hawaii has been through, the volcanoes, the tsunamis, the storms, everything Hawaii has been through, and you're just cutting shit off? What the fuck is that? Who does that? Oh, I know. People who want to crash the car do that so that they can total it and get a new car. That's what it is. I did hear that too, Josh. Yeah. But I'm like, come on now. He's going after Hawaii because Hawaii kicked Citizens United out of state politics. That's right, Jet. Oh, Colleen, you got it. Ding, ding, ding. We got to, I'll pull up a story on that because I had forgotten to pull up a story on that. That's a good one. Yikes. This is so fucking cruel.
Fraud in Hawaii. And the reason this is important is because one of the requirements for getting Medicaid money for your state is to have an effective Medicaid fraud control unit. And if you don't have one, it can jeopardize the state's access to Medicaid money generally. So I want every...
Okay. I just pulled up the state of California since that's where I live. And actually, we just had a big fraud case, Medicaid fraud case settled here in California. So actually, we do go after fraud in California. But there is a division in Rob Bonta's, he's the attorney general, in his office called the Division of Medi-Cal Fraud and Elder Abuse. And it's been around for a minute. So I think most states actually do have a fraud oversight. And maybe they just don't have the tools. Maybe they're bad at it. I don't know. Maybe there isn't enough fraud. You know what I mean? Like maybe it's happening and you're just lying about it. Maybe. But come on, dude. Come on.
Everyone in every state.
When are they going to take questions?
Of Dave Yost and
Hawaii is
Ohio.
a leader in volcano
This is what
fraud.
you're striving for. Arrests,
fucking
convictions,
go away,
the protections of the taxpayers in your state and of the Medicaid programs in your state, and avoid becoming like Hawaii that has 0 convictions and 0 indictments to show for millions and millions of taxpayer dollars.
Dude, you're killing me.
Fraud. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Dave Yost, Ohio's Attorney General.
Oh, Dave, bad suit. Oh my God, that does not fit you, sweetheart. Why is your head so big?
We're grateful.
Why is your head so big?
For the resources and the interest.
Why is your head so
of the federal
big?
government. We're fully committed here in Ohio.
Did you get bit by a tick?
Working with our federal partners to get results.
Not a peep,
Today,
Cecilia.
we've heard,
Not a fucking peep.
about several enforcement actions.
The fraud's behind
We
him.
have a
I'm
couple
telling
of
you.
indictments. One is a state case that was indicted Wednesday in Butler County. We've been working on that case since the beginning of the year. And the federal case, which was indicted earlier this week in the Southern District, thanks to our partnership with United States Attorney Dominic Gerace, began in September of 24. These cases are pieced together by skilled investigators.
Yeah, I'm sure they are. I'm just going to read you a Reuters piece about the Hawaii thing. This is literally what it is. Yeah, I know. Ohio being the gold standard for fraud morality is a trip. Yeah, it is a trip, isn't it? Yeah, they found someone taller than the model. Trump cuts off funds to Hawaii Medicaid fraud unit. So it's just the fraud unit that's not getting the money over lack of cases. Because they didn't have cases or enough, I guess. They stand to lose around $3 million in federal funding to fight Medicaid fraud. So they're going to defund the fraud unit after failing to consistently bring criminal cases. I don't even know if that means they didn't bring any. So instead of like finding out why, if there's a problem within the fraud unit, they're just going to shut it down. That doesn't make any sense to me. That doesn't make any actual sense to me. Without a federally certified, here we go. This is what it is. Without a federally certified Medicaid fraud unit, the state's broader Medicaid funding could be in jeopardy. Hawaii's unit obtained no criminal indictments or convictions for Medicaid fraud or patient abuse and neglect between 2022 and 2025, despite increased enrollment in the program, Bell wrote. This was from him. The state can ask for reconsideration. The move is part of a broad to push a blah, blah, blah. Let me see if I can pull up the Citizens United thing, because actually that was a really good story that sorry, I know I'm taking my time, aren't I? We haven't even gotten through this damn press conference. Let's see. Yeah. I love this. Hawaii legislature passes first in nation bill targeting Citizens United ruling. This is fucking amazing. We're going to totally follow that. What an amazing chat you are, bringing up really amazing things. I love you.
People who are have worked on this their entire career and burning the shoe leather that it takes to build a criminal case. I've been.
Could you have not gotten a better fitting suit for this?
Put together a story. I know what it takes to put together a story. I also know what it takes to put together a criminal case by proof beyond a reasonable doubt.
Oh, do you?
And
do you?
It takes a lot longer to go to court with the case. I'm proud of my team that's put together these cases.
Are you proud of your hard drive?
In total, over $42 million just in these two cases. In both cases, the defendants were exploiting families.
You are 20 of the best.
Kids with particularly behavioral services enrolled in community programs. The kids didn't even know they were enrolled in these programs, much less get any of the services, neither do their parents.
We asked the 5-year-olds, did they get, I know, look at the shoulder. It's like, it's probably cutting him right in his underarm. An idiot. And he thought he looked good. That bitch walked out of the house this morning saying, hey, I look pretty good. I'm going to be on national TV. I'm going to be standing up there with a really good smelling tall woman. Maybe she doesn't smell good. Oh my God. He wore that suit for the middle school graduation. 4 of us are out sick. I suspect it's fraud. there's an ongoing joke, everyone, that there's really only 20 people that watch my show on a consistent basis. And so I said, Neil, there's only 16. And he's like, 4 of us are out sick, but I suspect it's fraud. I love you, Neil. You're so funny. Thank you for playing in my space.
Complete fraud, top to bottom.
Top to bottom. Well, at least 2 of them.
What's already been said. If you see something, say something.
Yeah.
This is your money that's being stolen.
Oh, boy. Sir, you have no fucking idea.
I want to just point out that today marks something different. I've been engaged in this fight since I was the elected auditor of state.
Once it gets bigger, I'm going to complain about that too,
through my 8 years as auditor of state and almost 8 years now as Attorney General, I have been doing Medicaid investigations, prosecutions. I have never had the level of interest and support from the federal government under any administration that you're witnessing here today.
Do you not know about the 34 counts of fraud, sir? Do you not?
Against fraud.
Is that fake news to you or something?
But it's no longer a lonely fight.
I don't get it.
And what's the difference? President Trump, Vice President Vance.
President Trump.
And this team that you see arrayed here today, these senior federal officials who could be anywhere else, who have serious duties, are saying, this is the most important thing.
Get my dick sucked by this guy.
You're putting everything on the field. I'm grateful for your commitment.
I have voted not to send any money to Hawaii.
As we work together
Neil.
with people of this state. And David Tupler is the United States Attorney for the Northern District.
Are you hungover, sir? Did you have too many bourbons with turd at the bar last night?
General Yost, thank you to everyone who's assembled here today to highlight the amazing work being done.
Did you guys go to the strip club last night? Why are the cars there?
Federal, state, and local investigators
why are cars
to fight
there?
Fraud in this state.
Why are there cars behind them? Blanche looks higher than me. Yeah, exactly, right?
Our office is announcing today that we have charged 5 individuals with conspiracy to commit wire fraud and conspiracy to engage in
U.S.
money
attorney
laundering.
from Ohio.
These are individuals, 4 of whom are
Model
from the
babe
nation
should
of
put on
Ghana.
a red tie.
One
I
is a United States
know that
citizen.
would have been perfect.
These defendants were part of a criminal network that devised a romance fraud scheme to obtain money by targeting elderly Americans in this country and using social media platforms.
Really?
They engaged in highly advanced techniques using artificially intelligence-generated videos in order to engage people using false personas, developing close personal relationships with them, and ultimately stealing their money.
Wait.
Once they established trust, they used false pretenses and...
So are we talking about scamming of elders? Or Medicaid fraud? Oh, it's a lot heavy for daytime. No, and her blush game is like very 2015. Her contour, I mean, she's contoured, but it's very 2015. Way too heavy eye makeup. Yeah, romance fraud. Yeah, been there, done that. I've been catfished. It's happened. Hi, Oren. Cars for dumpy pants. He probably thinks it looks tough to have a Chevy truck commercial. Oh, yeah. It might just be a sponsorship opportunity. That's right. Romance fraud. Romance fraud. There's been fraud, waste, and abuse of my heart. There's been fraud, waste, and abuse of my soul. I gave it all to Russ Vogt. And he left me in a boat. And now there's fraud, waste, and abuse in my heart. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Stories about vast inheritances of money, gold, or diamonds, and then convince these elderly Americans to help finance.
So is that Medicaid fraud?
Proceedings
is that Medicaid fraud?
So between July of 24 and April of 2026, these defendants
Medicaid fraud
over 100 people across the United States, obtaining over $15 million.
100.
They then used this
You're
stolen
welcome.
money
Thank you
to
for
buy
being
a
here.
mansion in Ghana, diamond-encrusted jewelry, a Lamborghini, and other high-end luxury vehicles.
Lamborghini.
All of those assets have now been seized and are going through the forfeiture
And
proceedings.
Dr. Oz
but they
will be
not
driving the
profit
Maserati
from their
back to
fraudulent
D.C.
efforts. To date, 2 citizens
Ferrari,
from
or
Ghana have been
Lamborghini.
arrested. 1 United States citizen has been arrested and is detained here in the United States pending trial. 2 other citizens in Ghana are awaiting extradition to this nation.
Oh, you know who she
I want to
reminds me
acknowledge
of?
the hard work done
Daisy
by our federal
Duke from
prosecutors, the
Duke
FBI,
of
who did
Hazzard.
outstanding investigative work as well, but we would not have been successful without additional help from our other partners, including Homeland Security Investigations, Customs and Border Patrol.
Why are they doing
DEA,
it?
and our law enforcement counterparts in Ghana.
Here we go.
These indictments send a stark message and
blonde? I
warning to
guess she
criminals
wasn't ever
everywhere
blonde.
that we will not tolerate the victimization of our elderly loved ones and neighbors, and we will hunt you down to the ends of the earth to
hunt you
ensure
down.
that you are brought to justice and will never
See?
benefit from your criminal activity. I would now like to turn over to my colleague, United States Attorney, Dominic Juris.
Thank you, Dave. Good morning. I want to start off by thanking Acting Attorney General Blanche and all of the distinguished attendees we have up here today joining us in Columbus to make these announcements. As a U.S. Attorney, I'm proud of the work that our prosecutors and the agents do here in the Southern District of Ohio. The indictments we've unsealed today are emblematic of the quality that we are capable of.
Hold on.
And I want to commend my AUSAs and our partner agencies and agents for a job well done. Today we've got 2 cases, as mentioned by earlier speakers. One, a $30 million Medicaid fraud case. The other, a $1.4 million Paycheck Protection Program
Which she reminds me of.
PPP loan fraud case.
She's
$30
Daisy
million,
Duke.
$1.4 million. There's no number too big
Oh,
or
gosh.
too small
Gosh,
that we
Dukes
will
of Hazzard, I don't
pursue
know.
To make sure that those who steal from the taxpayers are held accountable.
Good old Catherine Bach.
And as importantly, that their ill-gotten gains are divested from them.
I know.
You saw
There's
photo
more people
earlier
on
of some
stage than a fucking
vehicles,
Saturday Night
14
Live show.
luxury vehicles seized in relation to that
Hold on,
Medicare fraud
Gates.
case. A McLaren,
Philos.
a Bentley, Mercedes, Land
I
Rovers.
know, I know. Everybody loves Catherine
$800,000
Bach.
worth
I
of
get
vehicles
it.
that these individuals who are charged in this indictment obtained as part of the alleged scheme in our indictment. So I'm very proud of the work
Did it for you,
of
Neil.
our folks in this district and what they've done and will continue to do because our work is far from done. I want to ensure the public that we are laser focused in this district on the problem of fraud and that we are well equipped to do the work necessary to address that problem.
That kid is younger than I am.
Over the
Look
last
at how
few weeks, in
stupid
addition
he
to these
looks.
cases we've announced today, our
Look at
office
their
has
red
worked
ties.
hand in
Oh
hand
my
with our
God, I'm
partners at
sorry. I
the
got to take a
FBI,
picture of that.
HHS OIG, and the Medicaid Fraud Control Unit from Attorney General Yost's office, along with some prosecutors from his office,
That's some sick
to obtain a
therapy
search
right
warrant
there.
that was executed just this morning on a home health care company located in Columbus, Ohio.
Okay.
And while that investigation is just beginning, I'm not going to talk about any details due to that.
But I
wanna say the
just
work that's been
basically said
accomplished by our
they're in
teams
trouble.
that short period of time to obtain that
Actually
warrant is a
enrolled at
testament to our
Duke University.
capabilities
Oh,
and the resolve that we
might
have
have
to
gone there
combat
too, actually.
taxpayer-funded fraud. And I believe that capability and resolve will
Go
only
Blue
increase.
Devils.
We've announced today that we've assembled in the Southern District of Ohio a fraud task force similar to a task force that's being assembled in the Northern District of Ohio by my colleague Dave Tepfer. That task force is designed to
can
operate
anybody
similarly to how we operate in the violent
yes, I
crime
finally got
space.
the homemade
We're gonna
base
identify
gasket
and
fitting
target
right. Hell
fraud
yeah,
predators.
Mr. Spock.
We're going to be
Get it.
intentional about that, and we're going to make sure that we're injecting a greater sense of urgency into fraud cases than ever before. So I want to thank all of our attendees here today for coming to Ohio. It's an important
Are
time.
you going to take
focus on
questions
fraud
or
in
not?
Ohio. I want to commend all my staff and prosecutors
Oh,
and
you're
the
not
agents we
going to,
work
are
with.
you?
And I want to thank all the state and federal agencies up here today. All
Where's
of
the
those
governor?
agencies have committed to our fraud
Why
task
isn't the
force
governor
in
there?
the Southern District, and we're looking forward to continuing the hard work that's already been done.
I wonder.
Thank you. I'm now going to turn it back over to Attorney General Blanche.
Oh, that seems sad.
All right, thanks a lot, everybody. Thank you, Dominic. All right, you just heard a lot of information. We're happy to take questions.
Oh,
If it's not to me, just address it to somebody else, and we'll make sure they get up here to the microphone.
Can't hear a thing.
So the question is, how did this fraud start? I mean, I think it's been going on for a very long time. And by the way, the Department of Justice has prosecuted fraud cases for decades. Wow. This isn't a new thing we're doing. But what we realized over the past several years, there were certain jurisdictions, including Minnesota, where the compliance was so lax or non-existent that you could literally just steal millions and millions of dollars with nobody even checking, with nobody even investigating. And so when you talk about what Dr. Oz was talking about just stopping the flow of money, that's different than a criminal prosecution. That's a very basic step to say, wait a second, we're not supposed to be giving you money, putting aside whether you're committing a crime or not. And that wasn't happening. And you talk about what the SBA is doing. It's the same idea. There's compliance that we can put in place, but that we expect states to put in place. And so on top, so this has been we call it a war, and it is. We call it a crisis, and it is a crisis because it's your money. Right, it's our money. The generosity of the American taxpayer is going out to just.
You are wise, sir.
And so I don't think it's fair to blame a particular jurisdiction for the inception of the fraud, but there are certain jurisdictions like Minnesota that we have focused on. And now we're in Ohio, and it's happening in California and New York and other jurisdictions. But we need state partners like Ohio to say it's not, well, we're gonna do our own work to stop the fraud, and that's what we're hoping that
why are you there?
Today motivates other states.
They do. Bong. I have to fire up my bong.
If there is a 5-year fraud that we charge, and we, like you just heard from our U.S. attorneys, we're getting cars, we're getting jewelry, we're getting homes, we're getting cash, but we're catching it.
What are you doing? Is cash living there?
Money is spent along the way. We're not going to be able to recover everything, and it is has to be a priority, and it is a priority to when we go after somebody to make sure we do everything we can to get their ill-gotten gains. It again goes back to what Dr. Oz was talking about.
This is incredible, really. The hypocrisy is
so when we
stunning,
turn off
frankly.
the funds,
Very
because
stunning.
either states or we know that whether it's a center, whether it's a program, whether it's a hospital, whether it's an individual, is not qualified. That also stops the flow
exactly.
of money. But it is
right,
our mission.
The fraud began when we didn't vote for him.
In the forfeiture proceedings that are happening to not only arrest the bad guy, but also to get every single dime
began when we were cuter than him.
Because we have to create a disincentive that should not be worth it for these guys to do what they're doing. And until very recently, this was a phenomenal opportunity if you were a criminal. It was unchecked, the money was unlimited, and you could go, like you heard, you can go and buy houses, buy cars, and so that's what we're stopping. Yeah, sure. Dr. Oz, want to answer that one?
We are definitely suspending payments. I'll give you one example outside of Ohio that I'll come here. 1/3 of all hospices in the entire nation. And again, hospice is a program developed 40 years ago for people at the end of their life, dying of cancer, for example, just to give them a few months of dignity. So you give up your Medicare to get hospice, a lot of money transfers when that happens. Of the 1/3 of all the hospices that are in California, in the entire nation, and actually it's just in Los Angeles, we have now suspended payments to almost half. Now, a few of these hospices have written AI-generated complaints, A few have generated legitimate complaints, but if we have 24 hospices that we need to turn back on again, and we've shut down, let's say, 900, that's a fairly good hit rate. And so the goal here in Ohio, and the same thing that the MFUCOs, the Medicare Fraud Control Unit here is doing, as well as our U.S. attorneys, is to look around and say, okay, where are the places where there's clear aberrations in spending? If 1/3 of all home health care is in this county, then it makes sense to suspend folks in this county, and we did that today. We're going to continue to do that together with
doesn't make
the local
any
law
sense.
enforcement, the Office of Inspector General.
It doesn't make any sense. And again, this man is on speed or some kind of drug. And I think somebody needs to figure out, I need all of these people impeached, removed, indicted, convicted. That is the mantra. If we get Congress, there should be impeachment after impeachment after impeachment after impeachment. Start with the cabinet. Don't start with the big guy. Start with the fucking cabinet. And one by one, knock these motherfuckers off. Do it. Impeach, remove, indict, convict. That's it. If the Congress isn't able to pull that off, what the fuck? That should be easy, because half of these people are just the next, Pam Bondi to be shit canned, because they're breaking the law. They're peddling bullshit religion to their fucking employees. They're making hostile work environments. They're firing people illegally. There's a ton of little either civil or even criminal charges in many cases, Dr. Oz, that you can charge them with. But you must do the work, create the record, impeach, remove, indict, convict, and make them talk. Yeah. Thank you, honey. LA County is the most populous county. Boomers prefer to age in place instead of moving. You can't afford. Do people understand how much it costs to live in assisted living if you can even find a space? You can't afford. Normal people can't afford assisted living. People who live paycheck to paycheck can't afford assisted living, who are on a fixed income with no family support. They can't afford assisted living. This is the most incredibly tone-deaf, bullshit, blatant lie. And they're telling you right up front, we're gonna penalize people for our own hatred and fear of you. I mean, I don't know if they can. I certainly hope they try, Colleen. I hope they try. I mean, the Democrats better be planning their fucking impeachments right now. They better fucking do that. Yeah, he's probably a fucking agent of Turkey. I'm sorry. Let's call a thing a thing. Okay? $5,000 per month. And that's cheap. It is. I know this. I know that's cheap. And forget about it. If you need memory care, double or triple that, right? I'm telling you right now, this is one of the most dangerous individuals and groups of people that we are experiencing. And if the Democrats, if the 16 people in this show can tell all the Democrats they know, listen, impeach, remove, indict, convict, or else forget about it, because then we'll be in the same spot where we don't have any of the planners or the leaders or even the management team documented, hello, Mike Flynn, as the instigator and planners of just the complete decimation of human rights and civil rights in this country and beyond. Never mind the extrajudicial killings that we're doing and the illegal wars that we're starting and God knows what compromises between us, Israel, us, Russia, us, whoever. Okay? So give me a break. Yeah, Colleen, mother-in-law is in assisted living, $5,000 per month. I'm telling you. Oren says memory care starts at about $15,000. And if your person needs to be kept indoors, that's going to run closer to $50,000 for 24/7 care. Come on. Like this is cuckoo banana towns. Yeah, almost all of, thank you, Teresa. Almost all of them have lied under oath. It should be, I mean, I think you could make the argument that there are several impeachable offenses for each of the cabinet members. And for some of them, like Hegseth, actual war crimes. Now, I would argue that RFK Jr. is also crimes against humanity, given his cockamamie Robert, whoever that Malone, fucking quack Malone, his vaccine bullshit panel that literally was dissolved by a judge because it was so incredibly illegal the way he appointed his sycophantic crackpots to the vaccine board. Oh, never mind the stuff that he was trying to do. Remember Guinea-Bissau? Anybody remember that? Well, finally the Danish government stepped in and ended that particular study that RFK Jr. was willing to give $160 million to in order to withhold life-saving vaccines from about 7,000 infants in Guinea-Bissau. Did you hear about that? We did. And gratefully, cooler minds prevailed and stepped in and stopped it. Because Guinea-Bissau is right in the process of administering that birth dose for Hep B so that children can survive in a highly, highly infectious environment in Guinea-Bissau for Hep B infections, which can be surface, by the way. So yeah, that's what you get when you watch Lolo's Lounge.
Takes this seriously as well. As Acting Attorney General Blanche said, we have the opportunity to claw back money, but I liken this much more to what happened with illegal immigration. Once people have come across...
Says confirming Oren's numbers or worse, and they're still going to forget the broken hip and try and escape on foot. Yep. Yeah.
Across the border, and more than 10 million did. It's very hard to get them back out again. But if you never let the border be porous, you don't have that problem. This administration under President Trump very clearly demonstrated it was just an act of desire. If you put your mind to it, you can do it. We don't have legal immigration right now, thanks to federal enforcement of those laws. The same thing could happen in healthcare if we put our mind to it. We control our destiny. It is up to us.
The other thing that's important to note, it's not. These frauds are pretty simplistic, unfortunately. So when Dr. Oz talks about doing the analysis on these hospices, you can tell by the data which ones are legitimate. And it's true, maybe you're wrong every once in a while, but the massive amounts, when you have a particular hospice earning, $30,000 a month and another one earning $300,000, and they're the same size, there's something's not right there. So, what?
Okay, that's a feeling. Turd. That's a feeling. That's not a fact. Something's not right there. Is that what you say in court? Your Honor and members of the jury, let me say, there's just something not right here. Thank you. I'm Turd Blanche and I rest my case. That's my Turd Blanche voice. I think he speaks a little bit like this. I don't think his teeth move very much when he speaks. So I think Turd Blanche kind of speaks like this. Yes, exactly. So I don't know what you're talking about. Let me see if I can find some of those resources just quickly as a thing I can drop in chat. Thanks.
Well, I'm not going to speak to what state officials here have said. I can only tell you about what we see and the results that we react to. What Colin talked about earlier about needing federal and state to work together in every state. When we had the opportunity to come here, when we saw the results that were happening here, we showed up here as opposed to anywhere else because of what we're seeing out of the Attorney General's office, state and local partners. We signed an MOU this morning that's going to allow us to share data. So I guess a local politician can talk, but then we can have people that actually do and act, and I'll take the do and act over just somebody talking.
Really?
Any day. Yeah, go back.
Okay.
The very back. Yes.
Thank you, Acting Attorney General Blanche. I have a specific question about whistleblowers that are terrified of talking about fraud and reporting it. In the state of Ohio, several of them, almost a year ago, had evidence of widespread fraud, came to me in December because their offices, like the AG's office, that would not provide protection. This was exposed in terms of millions of dollars of fraud, including providers billing. What can we do to strengthen that, to make sure that whistleblowers can come to state agencies because we don't have strong protections here? And then what can we do for better access for these public records? Because it's been 5 months since Ohioans have yet to see how much we're spending on home health care services, and that's a direct block from the governor's office. So what can the feds do to give us transparency? Because that's really what Ohioans are demanding today.
So I think that when it comes to data sharing, transparency, access to records, sharing information,
Turd
right? So it's one thing
blanket.
if
That's
a
a
state
better
agency
one.
has it, and it's another thing if that information actually gets to the right state partner or the right inspector general or federal partner. We cannot win this fight against fraudsters unless we work together.
That guy is, who is that?
Mean,
I can't remember
all
now
the
who
federal
that
partners,
is.
Like that means the Department of Justice working with the folks
He's
on
a
the
dick,
stage.
but
It
I
means
can't remember
the
his
Department
name.
of Justice working with the AG's offices. And so
Maybe he's
anytime you have anybody along that
He's part of
important
DHS.
path that stands up and says, we're not going to do it, or we
I
have an
know.
objection, we're not going to
I
share
know,
information, it makes it
macaroni.
more difficult. We're seeing that in Minnesota. Yet the
There's
governor
no
of Minnesota
fixing stupid.
happily say they were cooperating with us when we were
I
executing
don't know what
dozens
it is.
of
I think it's a
enforcement
reinforcement
actions
of,
around the
I think
state.
it's self-loathing.
When
That's
the
what I
truth
think.
is, he's suing us.
Black
He's
Lincoln
not
with Illinois
cooperating with
plates.
us, okay?
Oh,
And so
that's
you
from the
can
police record.
actually talk and say things like we'll cooperate, or you can do things like cooperate. And so again, going back to the question earlier, the reason why we're here is not because of talk and not because of what some politician says.
I don't just want to
but what
talk
is
about it.
actually
I want to
happening
be
here.
about
And
it.
so that's what look, Colin said it, and it's true. We will work with anybody. Director Cash said the same thing. If you have information, tell us,
Sure.
and we'll work with it.
Sure.
So, other questions? Second row.
Wow, good.
You suggested that these schemes were previously ignored by the previous administration. How often are these providers audited, and how is that?
Yeah, how often? Because there is an audit schedule.
Well, I think I
yeah.
can let the individuals speak to that about how often. It depends on the program. It depends on the state agency. We put a lot of trust in state governments to do the compliance and the auditing. Some states do a great job. You just heard about Hawaii. And by the way, we pay for it. You pay for it. Our tax dollars pay for it. So when we ask a state to spend the taxpayers' dollars wisely, we give them the tools to do so.
Okay, well, I just pulled up California. Medi-Cal is what our Medicaid program is called. Undergoes multiple audits and reviews at varying frequencies based on the program component. So for managed care plans, they have an annual medical audit and review, which require corrective action plans if deficiencies are found. There's an external quality review. Provider claims are audited on an as-needed basis and fee for service. I don't know, maybe that can be. Recovery audit, conduct audits on selected FFS claims spanning the last 3 years. Drug Medi-Cal specialized contract and are via ongoing state mandated monitoring cycles. So I'm sure by specific department. So basically there is literally multiple different audit schedules and which I would refer to as a compliance schedule, right? To go ahead and, like have those schedules. Do some need augmenting? Probably. Can some be streamlined? Probably. But that seems like some pretty intricate state by state work that needs to be done, not this blanket kind of, we're going to stop sending money to you because you guys are buttholes. Like that's not a fucking policy. That's a temper tantrum. Yes, I'm not going to say what my dad did. I love my dad. He would get on buses a lot. He loved riding buses all around. He liked to do that.
So financially and otherwise. And when we say that that the last administration was asleep at the wheel, it's because they were just letting it happen at these state levels.
Oh,
so when you talk about what Ferguson talked about, hey, we are going to send letters to every state saying you're on notice. That's what we should be doing. That's our job, to say we're giving you money. We want to make sure you're spending it the way you're supposed to be spending it. And if you're not, we're going to stop giving you money. We're going to decertify you.
You're telling me that CMS or whatever, or HHS, whatever departments within HHS, you're telling me that they didn't have a plan to work with their state representatives to get audit results reported? I find that almost impossible to believe. In fact, I do find that impossible to believe, because I know just from the education sector that there was always federal reporting happening from the state level back up to the feds. Okay. Yeah. Good at riding buses. Aw, I love buses too. Oops. I'll have a coffee and think about it. Yeah, there you go. Think about where those washers could be. But you know what I mean? Like, I cannot believe they want you to believe that there was literally zero communication between state level agency responsible for the Medicaid allocation within the state. It is impossible for me to believe that there wasn't a then, however often, either quarterly, biannually, annually, whatever it was, review of audits and records and other things by the federal government. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. So this is yet another lie that they just want you to believe because they're saying it. But you need to stop just believing people because they wear a red tie. Because otherwise, that actually does make you the sheep. That's literally what the definition of sheep is. Dummy.
And you're going to have to come back and earn it.
This has been very educational.
We're reflecting on
this is going to impact people's lives. It's going to impact people's lives of people we love.
We're done with it. We have a task force. We're focused on it every day, and we're moving forward. And we're already seeing extraordinary results in just over a month, 2 months. And the results I fully expect we'll continue to see. Go ahead.
Yeah, you need hardware stores.
So, yes, I'm honored and humbled that the president indicated he was going to nominate me today. I was with him last night at the dinner when he said that.
That's right. I was down on my knees.
I was confirmed a year ago to be the Deputy Attorney General. I still am the Deputy Attorney General. I will work with the senators. I have a good relationship with the Senate of both sides. I don't say no to phone calls. I'll meet with anybody that wants to meet with me. And I think the work that this department has been doing since President Trump took office, if you look at any stat across the board, it's much better. Exactly. We're much safer. Our communities are better off. Drugs are coming off the streets, and that's what President Trump expects, and that's frankly what I think.
Wait, we have something for that. Hold on just a second, everybody. We've got this. Actually, we have a live shot.
2 questions. One, kind of housekeeping. since you are announced as the acting Attorney General today, when is Pam Bondi's last day on the job? And is this a position that you would like full-time?
As to whether or not I want this job, I did not ask for this job. I love working for President Trump. It's the greatest honor of a lifetime. And if he chooses to nominate somebody else and asks me to go do something else, I will say, thank you very much. I love you, sir.
That really happened. That really happened.
Everybody in this country expects. So I'm looking forward to working with the senators and getting them the information they need through the confirmation process. Last question.
God.
Yeah.
Yep, Colleen.
I mean, I can let others speak to that, but don't worry. I mean, the American people, the American government is extremely generous, and we want to help those among us that need financial help or services. That's why we have these programs. They're good programs. Nobody up here has said that having programs to help families with autistic children is a bad thing.
No, but you just cut off like half the hospice.
Or somebody who works or runs a center that's doing the right thing, you ought not worry, because what we're doing is actually protecting you. What we're doing by going after the people that are taking advantage of the money and the programs that Congress has put in place and that the president fully supports, is we are making sure that the money goes to the right people. So I don't know if that's true. I think that people that are doing the right thing and parents that are doing the right thing and businesses that are doing the right thing are not worried. They're sleeping well at night because they know that we're not targeting them. We're not targeting people that are doing it right. We're targeting
I see.
the criminals that are doing it wrong. Okay. All right. I want to thank everybody for coming today. Again, as we end, I want to thank the people on the first row and the second row here.
Shut up. Shut up. Shut up, douchebag. Nobody cares, you bitch. Oh my God. Hey, we have some things to read. So I would really like to get to some reading. Hold on. I think my I know what it is. Ding dong. There we go. Oh, that's a little better. Not much better. Did I see that Abdul El-Sayed was at the Delaney Hall protest last night? Lee ended his interview on status quo with abolish ICE. Oh, wow. I did not see that. I missed the end of the night. I have been watching Status Quo, though. I like their coverage. I love that they do interviews with people and really talk. Remember when they said they would only go after the criminals before? Well, see, the problem, Macaroni, is that they are the criminals, and so they can't go after themselves. So they have to come up with different ones. Yeah. Hi, Dan Steely, how are you? The fact he thinks anyone takes him seriously is truly hilarious. It is. I mean, he's such a bootlicker. Hey, I'm number 2. I am the shit. Oh boy. Oh, Boise, boy. Oh, Boise, Idaho. Oh, Boise, Idaho. We have quite a bit to read today, so I hope you can hang in there with me. Hopefully it won't be boring. There are a bunch of old dudes in the back row wondering, why the hell have I been standing here for 2 hours? I don't know. I would not want to stand. Oh, Abdul is coming to our Close the Camp event on 6/27. That's so cool, Lee. There's such great activism happening in Michigan. Let me tell you. It's amazing. I'm going to tell you, I just think there's such amazing just in the whole, northern plain, if you will, Minnesota, Michigan, etc. I just want to say, I'm so grateful for the folks up there who are really putting it out there on the line for everyone. I love that. That's exciting. That's very exciting. All right. Let's see. I wanted to read a little thing to you. I'm going to jump a little bit between topics. I apologize if it's not completely, the usual. But this is, Lee, you'll be interested in this one. This is one I picked up from Forbes. Well, this was actually from April, but I really wanted to talk about this because what from an economic standpoint, and actually this could be a teaser for you and I, Lee, to have a conversation, because what I really want to talk about is some of the economic forecasts that like Justin Wolfers and other people are making, so that we can really see what is what's on the horizon, right? Because this is really basically a boondoggle. Just found out today people of Michigan are fed up. Oh, that's so great. Yes, Mercado is good. Absolutely. Absolutely. And really gets in there. He really gets to the heart of the matter and right in the front of the action. So, yeah. God bless all the people on the ground there. So Americans will, okay, I wanted to actually, there was some data in here. Americans are owed about 166 billion in tariff refunds, but consumers are unlikely to see a penny of it, which we knew. After the Supreme Court ruled they're imposed by the Trump administration were illegal, U.S. Customs and Border Protection launched an online system to process the tariff refund payments, but only importers of record, of course, we know, can apply for refunds, and they're mostly businesses. We knew this. It's leaving American consumers feeling cheated. According to Bloomberg Law, at least 17 class action lawsuits have been filed seeking to recover tariff-specific costs. 11 of them against, hi, Pepper. 11 of them against FedEx. And William Pletcher, litigation director of Consumer Watchdog, said these suits are only the tip of the iceberg. Strap in, everybody. Attorney Lori Leskin, who heads the consumer products practice group at Arnold & Porter, said plaintiffs will have a hard time establishing how much tariffs affected rising costs. Every company has eaten the impact of the tariff situation differently, she explained. There's so many things that explain why prices go up that it's going to be very hard for a consumer to establish a consistency across an entirety of a class. Tariffs had little effect on prices, despite the was nowhere near earlier estimates. The budget lab at Yale initially estimated a 2.3% impact on prices after tariffs were imposed. A year later, it found tariffs only contributed between 0.5 and 1% to price increases. But didn't we determine also that that was because of a lot of inventory and other things? No, they don't, actually. The Nut Liquor Sun, they didn't take that deal. They were presented, they claim that they were presented with that deal, but they didn't take it. That's what they've reported. So Nut Liquor says, I didn't do that. We thought about it, but we didn't do it. Federal Reserve economist, the underlying pattern of inflation within core goods is inconsistent. So this is from April. I don't know if they would say exactly the same thing. What the hell is that? What the fuck was that? Oh my God, is it one of these stupid ads? I swear to God, I hate these. Yep, it probably is dumb ads. I'm so sorry. God damn. Rebates work, yeah. But I think it was, there was another, shit, this isn't really the point I was trying to make. Damn it. Damn it, Janet. I wanted the other thing. Hold on. Because there was an economic report. That's okay. I'll find it. All right. It doesn't matter. I'll find it. But there is basically an economic report that I was looking at in conjunction with this article that demonstrated how prices will not come down, right? They won't come down over a series back to any pre-tariff normal, right? And the fact that there still are a number of tariffs in place, right? There's still the 10% worldwide or whatever it is. There's a number of different schemes. So we're still paying, right? There's still tariffs in place. It's only a portion of the tariffs that were deemed illegal. So from that standpoint, we haven't resolved this problem, and we've basically, the problem has already been created and baked in, right? There's not going to be, it's not like gas prices where they can come down in a more reactive manner because of the price of oil. That's not the way other consumer prices work. Right? So I don't know. It's just, I'll have to find that because it was actually a pretty good, clear discussion of what was happening. I'll find that. Thank you. Thank you for playing in this space with me. All right. I wanted to start with because I was thinking to myself last night, you know what I haven't thought about recently? What I haven't thought about is the Shield of the Americas. And thank you, Lee. Lee is our trade representative as part of the lounge. She works in that world. Yes, multiple tariffs still in place. Lots of impact on raw materials and inputs into U.S. manufacturing. I mean, if you know a small business owner, ask them, right? Ask them if they have, have their inventory costs risen, right? Have their shipping costs risen? I mean, what's the deal? Because again, tariffs and this war and oil prices are all 100%, 100, stem to stern, 100% self-inflicted by our own government. I mean, it just seems kind of dumb. Oh, Lee. Oh, here we go. The big issue is that most of FedEx entries are informal and don't go through the full liquidation process. So CBP is limited by what statute on what can be refunded. That's interesting. Oof. Data related to imports is expected to receive confidential treatment. Anyone shopping a list like that is a fraudster. Very interesting. Yeah, especially small manufacturers. I know, Neil, it's hard to be facetious in writing sometimes, isn't it? Anyway, all to say, we're so fucked. But then, so I was looking around and thinking, gosh, has there been any update on the Shield of the Americas, or is that just another, cloak for imperialism, which it is. Fun fact. It definitely is. But then I just found this. Now, this is obviously from them, but sometimes when you read things from them, they kind of tell you where you want to look for things, if that makes sense. The text of the following statement was released by the government of the United States. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, so and here's who's in the Shield of America. Shield of the Americas, I guess. U.S., Argentina, Bolivia, Chile, Costa Rica, Dominican Republic, Ecuador, El Salvador, Guyana, Honduras, Panama, Paraguay, not Guay, and Trinidad and Tobago. The member countries of the Shield of the Americas express our deep concern with the protest and road blockades aimed at subverting the constitutional order and destabilizing the democratically elected government of Bolivia. Wait, back to trade for a sec. Steel and aluminum tariffs of 50% on the full value of the items. Oh my God. Russia, 200% tariffs on these commodities. What? That's insanity. We stand with the government of Bolivia and call on protesters to express their concerns peacefully and to respect democratic institutions. When protesters result to violence, the government has a legitimate interest in lawful protection of the public order. So I didn't realize something was going on. Bolivia? I don't think we had heard about Bolivia. Well, of course we probably have. But I don't recall that being front and center. When President Paz works to repair the damaged economy and institutions he inherited after years of mismanagement, where have you heard that before? Protests and blockades are preventing fuel and medical supplies from reaching Bolivians. Okay, so that's interesting. So then I think we're going to start following what's happening in Bolivia, but I wanted to get that on our radar. I'll pull up a Bolivia thing later. Now, let's also talk about little Jared Kushner. Speaking of foreign entanglements, why does he always look like Droopy Dog? He always has this. I'm so sad. If the material's from Russia. Oh, okay, thank you. Which we buy? Wait a minute. I'm so confused. This one was from Teresa. Teresa got us this one. She's like, guess what Jared Kushner tried to include in the Iran peace deal? I really wanted to read this because this whole, Board of Peace, Iran, Pakistan, everywhere. I don't know what's happening in Syria, that kind of thing. But if it's happening, it probably has a Jared Kushner inside of it. Kushner wants to turn Iran into his next real estate development project. Because why not? Hold on, I need to move this just a teensy bit. Okay. Donald Trump is preparing to offer Iran. This was from May 29th, so just a few days ago. This could have very much changed. Like this morning or something. Donald Trump is preparing to offer Iran a $300 billion bribe to back out of a war he never should have waded into. And it's all thanks to Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner. Tweedledum and Tweedle evil. The United States is considering creating a massive investment fund for Iran as part of a peace deal after Tehran demanded reparations for the destruction, New York Times reported last Thursday. An Iranian official put the amount for the reconstruction program at $300 billion. So we said, okay. The fund seemed to be spurred on by an idea from Trump's Middle East envoy, Steve Witkoff, and Jared Kushner, who's a private citizen, the president's son-in-law, who does not have a security clearance, dealing with nuclear powers, both of whom are real estate investors. In fact, does Steve Witkoff have a security clearance? I don't even know if he has a security clearance. Steve, do you have a security clearance? Where are you? Where are you, Steve? Well, Jared, do you have a security clearance? Oh, you don't look very confident. You don't look very confident that you have a security clearance. Damn. Let's see. Steve, are you in here? No, I don't think I put you in here yet. No. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Goodbye, Jared. All right. Both of whom are real estate. Some mediators said that the duo had pitched promoting real estate projects and an investment fund for Tehran in the event that a deal was reached. It seems pretty clear that this investment fund is a thinly veiled strategy for them to make some money from the destruction Trump leaves in his wake. Kushner is currently being investigated for cashing in on foreign investment funds. Oh, wait, who's investigating him? Look at that face. I am an evil genius. Oops. Oh, you can't see it. I'm an evil genius. That's right. Don't fuck with me, fellas. Oh, thank you, Teresa. I gave you credit for that. House Judiciary investigates Kushner, pawn of the... Oh, I didn't read that. Oh, we're reading that. Oh, we're reading that. Okay, we'll go back to this. Okay, this move also reeks of irony, considering the right-wing criticism of former President Barack Obama's previous nuclear deal with Iran that unfroze a now meager-looking $1.7 billion. Now Trump wants to write Tehran a bigger check. Oh, that's it? For some reason, I thought there was more to that. Okay, but that's okay because we have this. This is from April. House Judiciary, this is not a word I can say very well, investigates Kushner, pawn of the Saudi monarchy. House Committee Democrats are investigating Jared. Democrats on the House Judiciary Committee are investigating Jared Kushner over conflicts of interest between his business activities and his work as a peace negotiator for the Trump administration with no security clearance. And Steve Witkoff flies his private plane, which I would imagine at this point has been bugged by, 159 countries. Right? Oh, he doesn't? Steve Witkoff doesn't have one either? Of course not. Of course not. All right. Representative Jamie Raskin, the ranking member of the committee, sent a letter to Kushner arguing his job managing the private equity firm Affinity Partners and his diplomatic work for the president, who happens to be his father-in-law, have been haunting American foreign policy since President Trump returned to Washington in 2025. Just imagine if Hunter Biden had been sent on negotiations with sensitive war engaged countries and done business deals while he's doing it. Just imagine for a moment. Just change the names. Change the names. What's your reaction? I would be apoplectic. I would be apoplectic. You cannot both be a diplomat and a financial pawn of the Saudi monarchy at the same time. You cannot faithfully represent the United States with billions of dollars in Saudi and Emirati cash burning a hole in every pocket of every suit you own, Raskin wrote, referring to Affinity Partners' extensive investments from Saudi Arabia and other Gulf oil autocracies. Your clients, Saudi Arabia and the Royal Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, have unique and significant strategic, economic, and political interests that are certain to diverge sharply from the strategic, economic, and political interest of the American people, Raskin's letter states. When you approach negotiations related to the catastrophic Iran war, the prospect of prolonged military conflict there, the rights of women and religious minorities in the Middle East, or the closure of the Strait of Hormuz or the Hormone Strait, are you representing 100% the interest of your business partners in Saudi Arabia and other Gulf oil autocracies, or are you representing 100% the interests of the American people? Kushner secured $2 billion in funding for his firm from Saudi Public Investment Fund 6 months after Trump's first term ended. The firm is also bankrolled by Qatar and United Arab Emirates. At the same time, he has served as a negotiator. Hi, easily distracted. How are you? I am easily distracted. So good to see you. Welcome back. Always a place at the lounge for you, girl. The firm is also bankrupt. Slip of the tongue. Bankrolled by Qatar and the United Arab Emirates. At the same time, he has served as a negotiator between Ukraine and Russia and in U.S.-Iran talks, while also being involved in Trump's Board of Peace in Kazakh. Still, Kushner has no official government position, which means he can claim that he isn't subject to legal requirements about his financial interests. Get off my lawn, bro. In his letter, Raskin requested extensive records from Kushner, including his business deals, his communications on behalf of the Trump administration, corporate information about his investment firm and firms, frankly, because he's got a couple of them. Okay, it's not just Affinity. Hunter Biden is killing it on his new Twitter account. Yeah, I know. I don't know how I feel about that. It doesn't matter what I feel about it, but I guess I'm kind of like, don't think. I don't know. I think it's me. I think it's a me problem. I'm gonna keep my mouth shut. Kushner is not likely to comply, considering that Democrats don't have control of Congress. But come November, bitch, karma is a bitch. That could change, giving Raskin and other Democrats stronger investigative and subpoena powers. So there you go, there you go, there you go, there you go. Speaking of Jared, this is from our friend Dumbfounded Jane. Nothing to see here except Charles McGonigal and Jared Kushner in the same paragraph. This was yesterday. What's crazy, and this is Twitter, what's crazy is how big the Kushner Albania story is. I know Tina was also doing some work on this Albania piece. And no one is talking about what I did a year ago. The resort is an Amman property. Vladislav Doranin owns Amman. He hired convicted FBI agent Charles McGonigal to run worldwide security while Charles McGonigal was being investigated for bribes from Albanian Prime Minister Edi Rama. Paolo Zampoli, posted a picture with Rama yesterday. I can't make this up, but it gets even more nuts when you find out his ex-mistress from when he was in NYC spent 2 months last year targeting me because I was exposing her friends, Rudy Giuliani, Michael oh, you're not looking at it. God damn it. Michael, this is the post. Michael Caputo. Wait, where am I now? Mike Flynn and Roger Stone. She even doxed me when I shared a picture of her with Ken Kurson from Instagram, who she considers a very close friend. Kurson is who they say any investigation should start with regarding Jared Kushner. Take this all in and then realize I have thousands of receipts. And check this guy. The MSN will catch up in a year. So this apparently is this person. What is it? Vladislav Doranin. That's this guy. Or no, wait. Sorry. Oh, this is wait. No, it's the security guy. Where is he? What the hell? Protection deal. Yeah, so this, wait, I'm confused. Which one is this? Oh, Eddie Rama. Is that who that is? Or is that Paolo Zampoli? No. That doesn't look like Paolo Zampoli. I'm very confused. Okay. I want to find Tina's piece on this too. Tina, where's your piece on it? Wait a minute. Wait, oh, there's Karen. Oh, wait. What does Karen say? Oh, here we go. It sure sounds like Jared and Ivanka got involved with Albanian organized crime, just including a man under investigation for murdering an Italian journalist. What? Oh, here we go. I think this was the article that had been floating around too. It might be. Okay. Cancel. All right. The investors. Oh, whoops. Again, I have to show you this. Jesus Christ. I'm really bad at this. That's not Paolo. Who is that? I know. Where's Tina? Because she's my Albanian. I don't know why. Yeah, the graphic was stuck. I'm sorry. It was operator error. I can't blame it on anybody but myself. I'm going to refuse. Okay, this is Albanian news. All right. The investors behind the Trump family's Albanian resort. And this was 6 days ago is when this was posted. As local residents protest what they describe as the takeover of the Pisheporo Beach in Narda for the construction of a resort linked to Jared Kushner and Ivanka, documents obtained by Byrne reveal that behind the tourism project lies a network of companies and individuals with questionable backgrounds, including figures tied to criminal proceedings and unresolved property disputes. This family is so fucking dirty. They're so dirty. Yeah, where's Tina's helicopter when I need her? I blame sunspots. Yeah. Oh, wait, hold on. I can do this. I can do hard things. Like, I can look for Tina's blue sky on this too, just so I have it teed up. I should just pull up Tina's account all the time. And Teresa's, frankly. Oh, wait, here we go. Oh my God, I love this woman. Oh my God. I just have to show you this. Look at this. Fucking 9 minutes ago. Whoops. 9 minutes ago. 9 minutes ago. 9 minutes ago. Tina posts this. By the way, please follow Tina. They can't seem to do anything that isn't corrupt as fuck. And so Jared and Ivanka not winning any popularity contests in Albania, have fun spending billions and get some peaceful R&R over there. Wait, oh my God. I just love this. I love these rabbit holes. Is that okay? Good. It came. If you were wondering who the mobster is, I want to see this. Oh. Which guy is that? Oh my God. Okay. I can't drag you down this rabbit hole, but I'll tell you what, we're going to come back to this Albania story because it's insanity. So don't worry. We're coming back to it, but I'll get my shit together. Hopefully. All right. Let's try something else. Okay. Dun, dun, dun. Got a lot of articles. I'm sorry. I know. Okay, this one is from yesterday. This is from Al Jazeera reporting. U.S. cites forced labor concerns as grounds for new tariff. Which, Lee, this is something too that it'd be interesting to talk about. Yes, every one of them needs to go. That's right. They need to go, go, go. John Bolton. I know. What the hell happened? What in the world? Literally, Dan, what in the world? Because I remember when that case came up and it was that he had taken some stuff home to, for his memoirs or something like that. And they were all mad that he was talking to his daughter and his wife over messaging about documents and stuff. I don't know. I mean, did he do something bad? Do you guys, did he like steal documents like John Bolton, like for realsies? Is there any good reporting on that? Or is it just like the initial kind of, let's see here. Who's doing it? I'm sorry. I'm jumping. Oh my God. This is going to be one of those shows where I've jumped all over the place and people are like, well, that, I don't know what I learned. What? John Bolton, committed Medicaid fraud? That's what it's going to be. All right. John Bolton reaches deal to plead guilty over classified information. This is New York Times reporting from today. The former Trump national security advisor plans to plead guilty to a count of illegal retention of classified information, which could result in a fine and possibly prison time of up to 5 years. Couldn't happen to a nicer guy. Fuck you. You fucking asshole. You're an asshole. I have to run. Bye, Lee. Thank you so much. So nice of you to come in to share your knowledge. This is getting a lot of pushback. I'm going through the official info. I'll share insights. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Oh, Johnny boy, Johnny boy, Johnny boy. What did you do, Johnny boy? What did you do, Johnny boy, Johnny boy? What did you do, Johnny boy? I mean, what would possess you to have to plead guilty to charges? That must mean, I mean, I hate to say that, but doesn't that kind of mean they had something on him and he had a plea deal? I'm not trying to just undermine the judicial process, and he should get his due process too. I'm not real worried, but John Bolton, National Security Advisor to Dump in his first term, has reached a tentative deal with prosecutors to plead guilty to mishandling classified information when he compiled notes for a book that was harshly critical of the president, according to two people familiar. A notice in Maryland federal court where Mr. Bolton was indicted last year indicates he is now scheduled for a rearraignment, a hearing that can signal a planned guilty plea. The hearing is set for June 26. Under the terms of the plea deal, which still requires approval from a judge, Mr. Bolton plans to plead guilty to a single count of illegal retention of classified information and pay a fine, facing anywhere from no prison time to 5 years of incarceration when he is sentenced, according to the people familiar with negotiations who spoke. Blah, 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 blah. If Mr. Bolton had gone to trial and lost, he could have faced decades in prison. This is kind of interesting because this to me is a little bit of a turning point when it comes to how they want to get back at people. Because if they basically have figured out how to get John Bolton indicted and to all the way to a plea deal, I think there are other people they could go after for equal kind of like criticizing and then, oh yeah, they didn't turn in their badge until a week later. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. Not that whatever John Bolton didn't do or did was bad. I mean, he was writing a book. So it's not like they also reviewed his book prior to publication, which is where all this started. And they didn't like the book, and then they lost in court and he could publish his book. So all of this has been adjudicated. That's what I'm trying to say. All of this has been adjudicated. That's why I don't really understand. Like, for him to plead guilty to me demonstrates that they had a lot more, that he really did the math and said, well, 5 years sounds good. I don't know. The plea would provide Dump with perhaps his most significant victory in his campaign to prosecute his perceived enemies, which so far has largely foundered since cases hit the courts. But the case against Mr. Bolton, who has emerged as a persistent critic of Mr. Dump since leaving the administration in 2019, was always different from the others that Mr. Dump has pushed the Justice Department to prosecute. The investigation into him was also pursued and gained momentum under the Biden administration when U.S. intelligence agencies gathered what former officials have described as troubling evidence. All right, well, I don't know what that is then. The Justice Department declined to comment. The original 18-count indictment against Mr. Bolton accused him of using personal email and messaging app to share more than 1,000 pages of notes. Yeah, see, this was it between his wife and daughter. I remember this was all like out. He was accused of using WhatsApp and email after he had left the post, okay? He was out of his job. He used it to share notes, or actually, no, I'm sorry. It was when he was in his job, but he would send contemporaneous notes to his wife and his daughter in anticipation of the book he ultimately did write. And I'm not saying that's right. Please, I'm not here to stand up for this piece of shit. But let's be real about this versus, the boxes in the bathroom. And probably selling some secrets to the Saudis. Just saying. Or the Israelis. Which included national defense information with 2 family members who didn't have right. The information was shared as part of Mr. Bolton's effort to write a memoir of his time in the first Trump White House. Those relatives were his wife and daughter. According to people familiar, they spoke on condition and blah, 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 blah. So, yeah, after his indictment, Mr. Bolton said he was being treated unfairly by the administration, determined to use the justice system to silence the president's critics. His lawyer, Abby Lowell, very busy, said the issues in the case had been investigated years ago and had not been deemed worthy of criminal charges. Exactly. The indictment charged that as he wrote notes for his 2020 book, The Room Where It Happened, Mr. Bolton indicated that he knew he was describing carefully guarded government secrets. One entry by Mr. Bolton began, the intel briefer said, while another read, while in the Situation Room, I learned. The Trump administration fought unsuccessfully to prevent the publication of Mr. Bolton's book. The criminal investigation ultimately focused not on what was in the published manuscript, but what Mr. Bolton had written in private notes. Unlike some other investigations, it wasn't he didn't share documents. He wrote contemporaneous notes of what happened, like during the day. I read a huge article about this, like it's been documented. Unlike some other investigations involving classified information, including charges filed in 2023 against Dump, Mr. Bolton was not accused of retaining the secret documents themselves, but rather of keeping diaries and sending emails that mentioned details of his daily work in national security. Again, not saying that that's a great idea. Mr. Bolton's emails, however, were later hacked by someone associated with the government of Iran. Oh! Isn't it funny that Iran hacked him? Like the Iran hawk himself? Wouldn't you think he would have extra protection against any Iranian hackers? I don't know. A representative for Bolton notified the U.S. government of the hack in about July 2021, but did not tell the U.S. government that the account contained national defense information, including classified information, that Bolton had placed the account from his time as national security advisor. One surreal section of the indictment described Mr. Bolton apparently being taunted by his hacker. Oh, brother. A message on July 25th, 2021 warned, I do not think you would be interested in the FBI being aware of the leaked content of John's email, some of which have been attached. The email went on to declare, this could be the biggest scandal since Hillary's emails were leaked, but this time on the GOP side. Contact me before it's too late. A representative for Mr. Bolton forwarded the email to the FBI. So anyway, I just think, I'm just surprised that he pled guilty. I really am. Yeah, someone clicked the wrong link. Yeah, MS Now. Yeah, no, they're saying 5 years. Yeah, they're saying 5 years. They're saying 5. Well, there you go. Oh, are you gonna cry, Johnny boy? Johnny boy. Oh, you're gonna cry, Johnny boy. Okay, we have more to read. All right, so hang in there. Israel is building. I wanted to check in on Gaza and see what was happening. And I found this piece that seemed interesting. Israel is building more military posts in Gaza, satellite imagery shows. An investigation by Al Jazeera's open source unit has identified 40 distinct Israeli military outposts entrenched within Gaza. They're taking over the entire land. This is from the 3rd. Israel was supposed to fully withdraw its troops from Gaza as part of the ceasefire signed in October. Instead of pulling back, Israeli forces are quietly cementing permanent, heavily fortified military posts across the besieged enclave, according to satellite imagery analyzed by Al Jazeera. An investigation by Al Jazeera's open source unit analyzing satellite data up to May 2026 has identified 40 distinct Israeli military outposts entrenched within Gaza. Crucially, the analysis proves that 8 of these bases were constructed entirely from scratch after the October 2025 truce went into effect, with one site still undergoing active construction. And this is where you can see. I hope, can you see this picture? Yeah, look at the blue dots are Israeli military sites and the gray dots are new. And you can see Israeli military sites are spread across the Gaza Strip with a clear concentration in areas close to the yellow line. So you can see this is North Gaza. The blue are the established military sites. Gray ones are new. And you can see, let me see if we can go down here, Gaza City, just all over, all around the crossing. This physical entrenchment mirrors the increasingly overt territorial ambitions of Israel's leadership. Speaking at a recent conference, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu confirmed directives to permanently seize the vast majority of the Strip. I'll include this link too, which I think we might have read this, but I'll include it. So that's part of the update. I wonder if he will get special treatment in a Fed prison. I mean, he might be with Ghislaine. I don't know, though. I don't think they like him. All right, we're still in it. We've got stuff. Another story from Al Jazeera I wanted to read because I wanted to check in on Central Africa. Refugee women in Central African Republic face childbirth risks amid U.S. funding cuts. I'm going to be also sharing a number of stories on the funding cuts and the actual resources, the data on the outcomes, because I think it's important in the narrative when we are speaking or when we're approached by people who are like, well, they weren't, no one's died because we aren't sending enough aid, blah, blah, blah. Well, I can give you at least 5 sources where the lack of aid is tied directly to the outcomes that people are suffering. So here we go. And I'll include all of those in the description. So in case you need to share those with family or friends, you can do that easily. Refugee women in limited staffing and supplies force pregnant women in Central African Republic, CAR, to give birth at home, increasing risks of preventable deaths. A woman holds her baby outside the registration center for new refugees on the outskirts of the Corsi refugee camp in Birao, Central African Republic. Sudanese women in northeastern Central African Republic face an increasing risk of dying in childbirth as cuts to U.S. funding hit already fragile maternity services, aid agencies have warned. Tens of thousands of people have fled fighting in Sudan's Darfur region into CAR's remote Vakaga province, overwhelming a health system that was struggling even before the new arrivals. CAR is among the countries with the highest maternal mortality rates in the world, and the influx has stretched the few functioning facilities to a breaking point, humanitarian agencies say. In and around Birao, a small town near the Sudanese border, a handful of clinics supported by the United Nations Populations Fund provide antenatal checkups, emergency obstetric care, and basic delivery services for both refugees and locals. Those services rely heavily on international funding, including contributions from the United States that have helped pay for midwives, medicines, and equipment. Aid organizations say reductions in U.S. foreign assistance are forcing them to reassess programs, and staffing levels just as needs are rising. Some facilities have already cut back on overnight staffing and outreach activities, raising fears that more women will deliver at home without skilled help or life-saving drugs. Refugee women, many of whom arrived after walking for days through the bush while pregnant, face multiple risks. Malnutrition, malaria, and untreated infections are common. Many report never having seen a midwife before reaching CAR and have little information about danger signs in pregnancy. Health workers say complications such as obstructive labor, hemorrhage, and eclampsia are frequent, conditions that can be fatal without rapid intervention and that are totally treatable with the right intervention. Local women in Bakaga are also affected with limited roads, insecurity, and few ambulances. Reaching the nearest clinic can take hours. We read a really deep story about that, I remember, about a month ago or so. When facilities run short of supplies or staff, families often turn to traditional birth attendants or delay seeking care until it's too late. UN and NGO officials warn that further funding cuts could mean closing some maternity wards, reducing the number of trained midwives, and scaling back emergency referral systems. That would undermine recent gains in encouraging women to give birth in health centers rather than at home. Humanitarian agencies are appealing to donors to sustain and increase support for maternal health care services in CAR, arguing that the cost of maintaining midwives and basic obstetric care is small compared with the human cost of preventable deaths. They say that without predictable funding, that's right, both refugee and host community women in one of the world's poorest countries will pay the price. That's a baby. That's a baby. Maud Ahmad Fadala rocks her baby inside the Corsi refugee camp, where she gave birth in the street in Birao. Women crowd the tiny maternity ward in Birao, which has just 8 beds for about 70,000 locals and 22,000 Sudanese refugees, in a country where more than 40% of the births already take place outside any health facility. Women fetch water at dusk at the Corsi camp in Birao. A nurse gives painkillers to patient Amna Adam Hessen, whose baby was delivered stillborn the previous day. Patients sit thigh to thigh on hard benches in sweltering maternity ward as staff say the number of women arriving daily has tripled since Sudan's war began in early 2023, overwhelming a health system already weakened by years of internal conflict. A nurse checks on a woman recovering from heavy bleeding after a complicated breech delivery, one of the preventable emergencies that has become lethal when pregnancies go unmonitored despite World Health Organization guidance for at least 8 prenatal visits. Women wait outside the delivery room. That's the delivery room. Heavily pregnant Sudanese refugees queue for water at a camp near the Sudan border where displacement, poverty, and lack of education intersect with a collapsed referral system, leaving many unsure whether any help will be available when labor starts. Look at that baby. Look at the baby. A pharmacist hands pregnant women painkillers from boxes at the pharmacy in the Birao District Hospital. Refugee Amna Hessen lies on a bare foam mattress after losing her breech baby and bleeding heavily during labor, a death narrowly averted in a country where nearly 2/3 of maternal deaths worldwide occur in conflict or fragile settings. Women line outside the maternity entrance at Birao District Hospital, one of the only facilities in the area that used to receive reproductive health supplies from UN, the sole provider in town, before aid cuts threw maternal care into deeper crisis. So that's one part of what's happening. And I won't read all of these, but I will share all of them. This is a UCLA Fielding School of Public Health. Research finds more than 14 million preventable deaths by 2030 if USAID defunding continues, including more than 4 million children under 5. So that's another study. This is another one. This is Harvard School of Public Health. USAID shutdown has led to hundreds of thousands of deaths. It's from last November. Yeah, that's that. Yeah. It's going to be next to impossible to rebuild USAID. Yeah, because you're losing a lot of small providers. They're not going to be there to fund, even if you come back with funding. You know, you have to rebuild. Now you have to do the work over again of rebuilding infrastructure within a community. Think about that. Think about how much money's just been wasted. If you want to talk about wasted money, you know, like a lot of those organizations probably don't even exist anymore. You have to rebuild that infrastructure. Do you know what it's like in a village? You've got maybe one building structure, and not a building structure, more like, you know, clay and, you know what I mean? Like what you saw, those concrete blocks, that's what you have with dirt floors. Like you literally don't have, you're decimating entire communities. And there's no one from the big city to get out to the bush to help them because the city programs are cut, right? And part of that was outreach. That's what the outreach is when you go into more secluded bush areas, you know, of Africa. I don't know. I just, you know, like what do people expect? And I know it's somehow it's easy to just act like, well, you know, I don't know. That's just, but my God. Where the fuck? Speaking of what the fuck, thanks to Meowing Star for sharing this. I just want to make sure that we definitely look at this. This was very dismaying to me. Attitudes towards same-sex marriage and transgender issues are shifting. Gallup poll shows. Of course, I hate to put any emphasis on polls, but this is data. And so from that standpoint, and it's disturbing data. So I think it's important to highlight it. And again, I'll include it in today's. It's in yesterday's description, but I'll include it today. So basically, acceptance has flattened after more than 2 decades of steadily increasing support with an ongoing decline among Republicans. So that's same-sex marriage. Democrats and independents largely stable when it comes to same-sex marriage. But I wanted to go to this part, which is very disturbing. Acceptance of transgender people is also down. In a sign that the views of LGBTQ plus issues may be shifting more broadly, the new Gallup poll found that 4 in 10 Americans view changing one's gender as morally acceptable, down from nearly half in 2021. The rights of transgender people have been a hot button political issue this decade because the right wants to demonize and other a group of people. Most Republican-controlled states have adopted laws in the last 5 years to bar gender-affirming medical treatments for transgender minors, restrict which school bathrooms transgender people may use, and bar transgender girls and women from some sports competitions, dump assigned executive orders. This week, one of those policies suffered a blow when a court ruled that military illegally banned transgender troops. And if you missed it, yesterday I shared a story. I don't know if I have it here because oh, here we go. This one, this came up yesterday, which I do have for us to read. Hold on. And that is that there is trans minors suing to stop Justice Department access to medical records. And that did get a clearance to be brought against the government. So that is a case we're going to be watching with great anticipation. And so I'll be reading that as well. Most Republican. The Gallup poll conducted May 1st to 17th was 1,000. So it was a random sample of 1,000 adults. This is why I kind of hate that. And I don't know. But at the same time, I'm willing to take this information at its face and say this is absolutely unacceptable. Like I cannot stress this enough. And I just want to keep it real simple. if you find yourself saying, we don't have time, or it's not, transgender rights aren't the first thing that we should, transgender rights aren't important enough to be a part of our platform, or I'm not comfortable with gender affirming care, or, and you call yourself a Democrat, then you are not a Democrat. And I hate to be at that kind of black and white, but I really just don't see where the argument is on this. The fact that you would sideline someone's someone's right to exist and think that that's pro-democracy, that does not compute. And if you find yourself saying things like, oh, but it's such a small percentage of the population. What? Did you learn nothing from any of the civil rights movements? Hell, from Dr. Seuss. A person's a person, no matter how small, or, whatever the saying is from like, literally, think about that. Think about the fact that you would say, oh my gosh, pro-democracy, get the autocracy down, bring rights back, blah, 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 blah. But, transgender people, don't be around my kids, or whatever it is that you have in your brain that stops you from fully accepting other people. Yeah, leave kids alone, right, or whatever. Like that is, then you are not, for me, you're not a Democrat. You got to do some thinking. You got to do some reflection. Because you're basically telling another person, another human being, your rights are not important enough to fight for and not negotiate on. So again, I'm not the person that usually gets real black and white and, judgy. I mean, I am judgy, but not really, I'm kind of judgy, but whatever. Anyway, hopefully for a good cause. But I'm just saying, this to me seems real simple. Like, it's just not even something that should really even be thought about. And the fact that we would agree that there are medical facilities that would deny care because of some moralistic bullshit nothingness, which is actually amoralistic if you want to know the real truth of it. Because again, what you're trying to do is you're trying to control what another family is doing. Fuck that. It's just not. I'm sorry. The medical records case has my eye. Yeah, I think that's going to be an interesting one. Of course, it's going to get to SCOTUS, and then we're going to have to deal with that, but whatever. Yeah, I'd say exactly. People watch too much fucking Bill Maher, and he's not a Democrat, and Bill Maher's never been a Democrat, and he's a fucking douchebag. He's a fucking abusive, misogynist, bigoted motherfucker. Who the hell would have time for that? Before I forget, Kobe Lane's speech at the Minnesota DFL, their Democrat party for governor from a few days ago, was absolutely stunningly amazing. She got -30 of the votes versus Klobuchar. Oh, she got about 30%, or is that what you're saying? Which is amazing. I try to be judgy for good, not for evil. I can definitely be a bitch, and I'm not a perfect person, and sometimes I'm ignorant, and I'm learning, but I am going to be perfectly flawed. How about that? Thank you for that, Meowing Star. I'm going to take a look for that speech. Hold on. Let me just grab that name before I forget. Kobe Lane. Maybe we'll end with that. That would be a nice ending. Scooby-Doo, Scooby-Doo. Video. 3 days ago, Kobe Lane, the Minnesota DFL State Convention. Is that? Well, shit, man. Let's listen to it. We need some inspiration. Okay, I'm going to subscribe to her channel. And then, where did I go? Oh, here it is. Okay, let's take a look at this. On topic. Meow, meow, meow. I think, is this it? Does this look familiar, Meowing? That's it? Okay, great. Awesome. Okay, this should be up. All right, this is about 14 minutes, so just enjoy. Thank you for this update from Michigan.
UNIDO's trained over 50,000 constitutional observers and gave out 40,000 whistles, ones like this one. ICE violated our communities, and we became world leaders in organizing to defend our communities by nourishing, housing, and protecting our Black and brown neighbors. And we will continue to organize until ICE is out. Abolish.
Wait.
What we do is set the tone for what the working class across this country will demand. This is bigger than our party or our state. Our world-class organizing is just the beginning of a national movement to take back what's been stolen from the working class. Skipping over the primary process. What we learned through Operation Metro Surge is that when we are called to meet the moment, to defend our communities from systems that seek to harm us, we must stand in solidarity because our communities are worth the fight. Someone with nowhere to go, I know you. If you've ever wondered where your next meal is going to come from, I know you. If you've ever given up on seeking justice, I know you. And if you refuse to give up fighting for what is right, I know you. Tired of being harmed at the hands of our government, tired of being harmed by elected leaders who side with big money instead of the people. State their loyalty. Are they aligned with big money, or are they with the people? Because they can't be both. Every day, but we cannot serve the working class unless we talk about systemic racism and our DNA. Party does not mean that our anti-racism work is done. It's everywhere. But we need to get our house in order first before we judge the Republicans. What I mean by this? White candidates ask the Black community for their support, yet too few mention the 2026 United Black Legislative Agenda. White candidates ask immigrant communities for their support, yet some candidates can't even stomach the words abolish ICE.
That's amazing. 30%. Amazing.
Treaty rights discussed? The answer is no! Statement needs to stand for something. If we want to be the big tent party, we cannot leave anyone
Thank you.
behind.
Thank you. Oh my God.
Our unities means standing up for what is
So
right,
dumb.
not what is politically convenient.
Right. I don't even believe it is.
Trans kids behind and ask the LGBTQ community to vote. For their bodies and then criminalize sex work. Communities to support us. And we certainly cannot leave rural communities behind and expect to earn a trifecta. It is no secret, friends. Our electorate is losing faith in our party. All that they are asking for are policies they can rally behind. I speak today as a a young person in this state,
I hope
we must stop telling young people to have hope for a train that just won't.
I really hope it got their attention. I really hope this got the attention of the Democratic leadership, because you can't ignore 30%. Hell, you can't ignore 10%. That this will not be ignored. You know what I mean? This movement, this policy, this platform, it will not be ignored because it's the right thing to do. I think that's amazing. What a great example, too, of how to work a campaign, right? How to do grassroots type of work and outreach. I hope that the Democrat establishment is really fucking paying attention. Because these are the people that are the next. These are the Democrats, in my mind.
And it is up to our elected leaders to not only listen, but act. Our communities set the agenda, and our elected leaders should follow. National leader in restorative justice. Our elected leaders need to serve all of our communities across this state. Politics is about policy, not personalities, not platitudes. The governor is a powerful vessel for policy with a signature that impacts over 5 million Minnesotans. If we are a Big Tent party, then we need to act like a Big Tent party. All of our working class communities stand together in solidarity. And working class solidarity means the future governor must bring with her every working class community to the governor's office. The silver lining in this, friend, is that we have an opportunity today to build a party, to build a state that serves us, our families, and our communities. The vision I am offering you today is one where we finally fight private equity in our lives. We can like to measure success by profit margins and shareholder value. Let's build systems that measure success by how resilient and prosperous entire communities are.
Yes. Thank you. God.
Communities are attacked. I didn't hear Target or Amazon speaking out and stepping up during Operation Metro Surge. Don't let them gaslight us into thinking that we need them more than they need us.
100%.
Minimum wage and require them to host union elections annually.
Fuck yeah.
Workers on strike to tap into unemployment insurance.
Thank you. That's necessary.
When we invest we'll invest in worker confidence through a revolving loan fund, where every worker gets access to business ownership with every loan issued. As long as our employers have us chained by our health care, we are not free to pursue other opportunities. Donald Trump's one big bullshit bill will get you from their insurance, and I will bet you the last $1.25 in my checking account that it will be someone you know. That is why this campaign is fighting for Medicare for all. That doesn't leave
Oh my goodness. I love her.
It truly takes a village to raise a child. And this is more than just freeing up parents for the labor force. It's about making sure that our children have early childhood interventions to make sure they're prepared with phonics and social skills before they get to kindergarten.
Yes.
The worst racial disparities in education, and it starts with making sure teachers have what they need to meet our children. We deserve to go home to a place where the rent or the mortgage doesn't leave you wondering if you can afford groceries. The problem with our housing market is that we've allowed housing to be an investment vehicle to be profited from.
Yep.
If
Yep.
you are a renter like me, I see you, I hear you. And that is why we are capping rent increases across this state to 3%. Making sure that the tribes see their money too.
Yep.
But you shouldn't have to foot the bill. We will fight for a progressive corporate tax system and a wealth tax to make sure the most...
Yes. This is what California needs to do. Stop fucking trying to pass sales taxes. You can tax the wealth. Bitches. Jesus.
However, the trend in this country is to take for granted the communities that vote Democrat in order to grab a couple extra independent and moderate votes. To beat fascism, we cannot abandon our values of freedom, self-determination, and justice. We've always known the same corporate establishment that protects the very systems that enable Trump's elections. Systems that allow billionaires to profit off the genocide in Gaza.
Yeah.
We are called to be good stewards of our lands and waters. Yet here we stand in a climate crisis. We will enact a moratorium on data center construction.
Regulate. Thank you.
Transition away from an extraction economy. Green energy projects that get us to our 2040 carbon neutral goal.
Oh yeah.
Dakota namesake, Minnesota, means land of sky-tinted waters. How about we keep it that way? You are reaffirming in this election. People are more important than profits. Healthcare and housing are human rights.
Yeah,
Immigrants are welcome here. Change has no home in our state, and no candidate should ever take ACAP money.
Seriously. Why are we even talking about that? Jesus.
Our coalition will take home a trifecta in this election if we ensure we serve every working class community across this state. To many of you, Republicans are the enemy. If we, as a working class party, really believe it is top versus bottom and not left versus right, then our enemy is not the working class people on the other side of the aisle that are just as fed up with a corrupt two-party system that ignores the working class. The real villains are in the Epstein class. For anything that they deem beneath them. Friends, we attended the No Kings rallies, yet what stands before us is the coronation of yet another corporate Democrat. Is a working class candidate who refuses to be bought. I am running for governor, fighting for change, because if not me, who? Money doesn't vote, people vote. So let me be control of the fate of our communities. Together, we will make Minnesota a state known for racial, economic, and restorative justice. There are three critical ingredients to progressive change and democratic renewal: good public policy, grassroots organizing, and electoral politics. Spelled out for us are the policies we need for thriving communities. Our communities are organized, angry, and fighting for change, and now it is our responsibility to take those demands to the ballot box.
Wow. Wow. You're lucky. You're lucky. Oh my God. Stop. Stop. Oh my God. That was amazing. That was amazing. Oh, where am I? There I am. I fly back in. Meowing Star, thank you for that. I had no idea. Oh my God. That was so great. Kobe Lane. 30%. That's fucking awesome. Now that's a harbinger of change, right? Like that is what it's all about. Wow. Thank you for that. I really appreciate it. What a great way. You know what? I think I want to make that like the closer, you know? Like I want that to be the closer where we are like hopeful that there are great leaders that are pro-democracy. They can call themselves whatever they want. Democrat, independent, peace and freedom. I doesn't matter. But to me anyway. But for me, that's all like pro-democracy. Really? That's the first time you've heard of her? Oh my goodness. Oh, I didn't catch Riverboat last night. I did see that was live, but I didn't go to the show. Hey. Well, I'm so impressed, and I'm so grateful that there's so many good candidates out there who are saying those things, right? And getting traction. Like the Democrat Party cannot ignore someone like Kobe Lane. Like they should not be ignoring the people that are having that much traction and actually saying the things that many people, even if you consider yourself a centrist or whatever it is you consider yourself, or a moderate, you can't. I find it would be hard to not agree with everything that she was saying. Because otherwise you really aren't like, you're not a Democrat that I remember growing up with. That's not how Democrats were in my household. You know, it was more about inclusion and, you know, focus on class war and, you know, da, 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 da. Well, that's really cool. What a cool lady. She's a cool lady. Well, I hope we see much more of her. It sounds like we will, because that was fire. That entire speech was fire. Amazing. Thank you for that. Oof. All right. Well, it does scare them that they can't control the messaging. It's true. Which is so dumb. If you think about it, I don't know. I'm just so glad. I'm really glad Mom Donnie won, because I think that's a great, you know, opportunity for people to see things in action and to go, oh yeah, maybe I'm not against that. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like people would do that. And sure, Mom Donnie's going to face all kinds of challenges, because trust me, New York City to me is one of the changed. For anything to get reformed or changed is probably in New York City is one of the hardest things in the world. But I think it's so great that he's out there and he is doing things, and we'll be able to see, you know, what is effective and what works, and maybe people who consider themselves moderate or centrist now will discover that they're not what they are. You know, that doesn't mean you exclude people, and that the exclusion of anyone is really going to be the death knell of the Democratic Party. I believe this wholeheartedly. Ignorance of money in politics, ignorance of not including everyone as a fully important and fully imbued with human rights part of the party, that's the only party we can have. Otherwise, it's not a party. It's not a party. If everyone's not invited, it's not a party. Bong rips for democracy. Oh, I will. Thank you. I thank you, Mr. Spock. I certainly will be engaging in bong rips. Wanted to do, if they understood that most Democrats are FDR Democrats, right, plus more civil rights, then the DNC might be able to win. I know. I just I do feel, and I used to kind of poo-poo the whole corporate Democrat, not the poo-poo the corporate Democrat, but just not place as much emphasis on it as I should have. And so I made mistakes. So I admit, I think we need to really fucking demonstrate that these are the type of people that I want representing me, right? Kobe Lane is the type of person. Nithya Raman is the type of person I want to represent me. Because I align with those values far more than I do with, Nancy Pelosi voting on the Clarity Fund, or the Clarity Act. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, why compromise? I mean, I understand compromise. I also understand compromise. I do. But there are places where you don't have to compromise. And human rights really should be kind of like fucking, it should be pretty basic. Sorry. That's what I believe. Anyway, thanks, Meowing. That was a great way to end the show. I will see you tomorrow morning. And we'll catch up on a lot of reading because there probably won't be much congressional shit. So tomorrow morning, I'll see you for Wake and Bake. Tomorrow night, I will see you for trivia. Spaced out trivia. Friday night, 6:30 p.m. Pacific, 9:30 Eastern. Everything inside and out. Come and laugh with us after a long week of torture. Hopefully. God bless all the boots on the ground who are fighting this fascistic regime with their blood, sweat, and tears. And God bless the peacemakers. Yes. Have a wonderful day. I will see you guys later. I'm Lolo, and I'm out of here.